Christine Lisi. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler and Adam Schefter are reporting the Colts benching quarterback Anthony Richardson and turning to veteran Joe Flacco. Richardson, the former first-round pick, has struggled since coming back from a hip injury. Also took himself out of Sunday's game briefly because he was tired. Sources said the benching's a growth opportunity, and they're not quitting on Anthony. Texans receiver Stephon Diggs out the rest of the season with a torn ACL. Huge loss for Coach DeMeco Ryans' Houston squad.
It's our team to hear that news, and he's been such an important part to our team, and it's everything that he brought, not only on the field but off the field, the energy, the leader, like the way he worked every single day. He brought a lot to our team, and we have to pick up the slack. A lot of guys have to step up, pick up the slack.
Texans also currently without injured receiver Nico Collins. Ravens acquired receiver Deontay Johnson from the Panthers, reports Schefter. The World Series could come to a close tonight. The Dodgers in command of the Fall Classic, up 3-0 on the Yankees. Coverage 7 Eastern ESPN Radio. LA going with a bullpen game. Luis Heel starts for New York.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming on Wednesday. The Chiefs are undefeated and their defense is rolling. So is this the year that Mahomes is a passenger on the way to the Super Bowl? It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Could use Paul O'Neill in the Bronx right about now. Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. John Stinchcomb in 1 hour from right now. Sean Salsbury in hour 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, Monday kind of blew a gasket. If you were here, talked about the Saints losing to the Chargers, but bigger picture, it wasn't just the loss to the Chargers. I didn't expect them to beat the Chargers. It's just what has become of the team, the roster, the organization, all of it. 6-game losing streak, first time that's happened since 2005. By now, you well know that, but it's also a lot of how it's transpired, and also the fact that guys like Mickey Loomis and the front office keep trying to pull the wool over all of our eyes, trying to convince us that it's not really as bad as what we see. The look beyond the good organizations look beyond the results comment is one that they'll put on Mickey Loomis's tombstone. Proverbially speaking, I don't mean his literal tombstone. I mean whenever his time in New Orleans is done. And so, I don't. A lot of people, if you weren't here yesterday, you can catch the full. I did one of my rants. By now, you know what they are. I yell and scream and sweat and all that sort of stuff. But by and large, it's been really well received. I don't start a segment or something like that with the intention of it escalating like that. It's just kind of like, it's just me. Like, I'm a passionate guy, and I start going down a road, and I don't know, man. Like, I love the Saints, and that just kept building and building and building, and then I blew the top off. And look, it's been really well received. I mean, we posted a clip of it on Twitter. It's already at 70,000 views. The full video on YouTube is already over 10,000 views. Instagram is approaching 100,000 views. It just got put on TikTok and Facebook today, so we'll see. But I go read the comments, and by and large, a lot of people agree. This guy, Steez, full said, y'all may hate him, but Matt is right. Do people hate me? I mean, I know Alabama fans hate me.
Well, they hate you for sure. Yeah, I don't know if people hate you as per se. They maybe just disagree with you sometimes.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
White Llama Poo Poo on Twitter said spot on. Yeah, White Llama Poo Poo. He said spot on.
Okay.
And anyone who thinks getting rid of Dennis Allen would fix the Saints' problem is sans a clue. Mickey Loomis has to go to.
A little rhyme there.
This guy, Wesley Dome Patrol, said Mickey with his gum, and he put a gif of Ace Ventura chewing the gum.
That's an A+ tweet.
Really good. Really good stuff. D Modifier, 100% spitting facts. Matt Rodriguez, thank you, Matt Moscona. I mean, Paul, you could pull these up if you want, just so you know that I'm not lying. Trey, Mickey says, look beyond the results. My man here looked beyond the results. Like Mick said, it's nothing but behind. Beautiful rant. I feel the pain, Matt. He and his head coach have to go. Yeah, look, everybody's agreeing with me. You know, I mean, it's just it was really well received. I just got one as well today from let's see, it looks like at Can't Guard Mike. That's what it looks like. At Can't Guard Mike.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Michael Thomas, right?
Like the Michael Thomas?
Like the Michael Thomas.
No. That's got to be like a parody account or something. It does say Michael Thomas on it, but it can't be like actually Michael Thomas.
No, that's his official Twitter.
Well, it does have a blue check mark, but anybody can buy a check mark now. It's not necessarily got to be him.
No, that's always been his Twitter handle. Can't Guard Mike.
Maybe it's one of those things where they have like an L. It's like a 1 instead of an L or something like that.
I don't see that. Do you see that? I mean, I'm looking at it.
That guy does have over 400,000 followers.
That's a good tell.
That's pretty good following for a parody account.
I'm telling you, that's not the parody account.
You think that's really him?
I know that's really him.
Oh, like the guy who used to play for the Saints, Michael Thomas?
That's the one.
He replied to my rant.
Did?
Actual Michael Thomas replied to my rant.
Actual Michael Thomas replied to your rant.
Oh, that's funny. He said, this the same guy? And he linked another YouTube video on there from AFR Saints, my YouTube channel. And it's when I was talking about Michael Thomas going off after the reports of his release. You remember that day?
I do remember that day, yes.
Yeah. So Jeff Duncan reported that day that Michael Thomas was going to be released by the Saints. And so Michael Thomas went on this borderline insane stream of consciousness string of tweets where he called Jeff Duncan a hoe, and like literally H-O-E, called Jeff Duncan a hoe, and a lot of other things. And so I spent a good dozen minutes or so trying to make sense of how Michael Thomas went from quite literally the greatest player at his position in the history of the organization and winning NFL Offensive Player of the Year to a guy that literally nobody wants around their organization. Apparently Mike watched that video. If you're saying this is actually Michael Thomas.
I'm saying it's actually Michael Thomas, and it looks like he did watch that video.
So you mean to tell me that Michael Thomas went on Twitter and posted a link of a video of me talking about Michael Thomas being bat bleep crazy on Twitter?
That is what I'm saying, yes.
This is a weird web that we are spinning here, Muse, with Michael Thomas. My goodness, he's insane. God bless him. By the way, Mike, first of all, since I know you're watching, thank you for watching. It's always nice to hear from the fans. So good. And by the way, makes a little sense, though, Muse. He's got some free time on his hands. So it makes sense that he might spend his days watching our show. So thank you, Mike. Great to see. Always have time for the fans. So thank you for watching. How sad is this, though, for Michael Thomas? First of all, why would you care what I or anyone else says? And I didn't say anything specifically about Michael Thomas in the rant yesterday. And oddly, the video that he linked was me talking about his nonsensical stream of consciousness diatribe on Twitter about Jeff Duncan reporting that Michael Thomas was going to be released. Remember, that was the day. Jeff Duncan reported that the Saints were going to release Michael Thomas, and Michael Thomas went on Twitter diatribe against Jeff Duncan. Can someone remind me, whatever happened with that Jeff Duncan report that Michael Thomas was going to be released?
Oh, Michael Thomas was released.
Oh, you don't say?
Yeah.
They released Michael Thomas.
They did.
No kidding. Huh. What's Michael Thomas doing right now?
Not playing football. Yeah.
Oh, he's tweeting me.
Oh.
And posting shirtless pictures and replies as well. Someone asked, "Are you retired?" He said, "No." He said, what did he say? I'm a genetic. Anyway, it's a shirtless picture. It's somewhere in the comments. There's a lot of comments now, as you might imagine. The funny thing is the people are like, "Cook MT, get him MT." I'm like, hey, why don't you go watch the video that he linked? Actually, everything I said is 100% accurate. It makes him look like a jackass, which clearly he is. I mean, he's a cancer. Might be unstable. He's definitely an a-hole. And nobody wants him on their team. Like, do you realize the New Orleans Saints, let me spell this out for you. The New Orleans Saints released Michael Thomas. Nobody has signed him. To the best of my knowledge, nobody has given him a workout. Adam Schefter's usually all over that, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's on top.
The Chargers brought in 4 players for a workout today. Among them is former All-Pro Michael Thomas. That hadn't happened. Guy hadn't gotten a phone call. Hadn't gotten a workout. Like, why do you think that is? Because you're broken down physically, and you're an a-hole that nobody wants to be around. Like, you're a cancer in the locker room. You literally got in a fight with a teammate. It's exactly what I said before. He's the guy who completely plays a victim mentality. It's always somebody else. It's never my fault. Oh, it's not your fault you ghosted the Saints. It's not your fault you didn't do your rehab properly. It's not your fault you get in a fight with a teammate. Oh, it's always someone else, right? It's Jeff Duncan's fault that he reported that you were going to be released. It's my fault that I go off on the organization. No, it's your fault, Mike. That's why you're sitting your ass at home right now. That's why you don't have a job. I'm sure you made a ton of money. Probably going to be good. Good on you, man. But the New Orleans Saints had Chris Olave with a concussion and Rashid Shaheed out for the season. And instead of calling you, they played Mason Tipton and Equanimous St. Brown and Bub Means. And they went and signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling, all while you just sit there on Twitter. I mean, never a thought of Michael Thomas. Hey, very sad news today. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL. You saw that?
I did see
He's
that.
out for the year. Do we think the Houston Texans are going to call Michael Thomas?
No.
Don't hold your breath, Mike. The phone's probably not going to ring. And it's nobody's fault but yours. Hey, Mike, by the way, since you got a lot of free time, I'd like to formally extend the invitation. You can come on the show whenever you like. Just tell me when. Phone, Zoom, in studio, I'll come to you. You let me know. We'll make it happen, Mike. I got a lot going on, unlike you, but I'll rearrange my schedule to make it fit. Michael Thomas. Christ almighty. All right, it's after further review. Show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. By the way, we were totally clipping that and posting the whole thing on Twitter and tagging him in it. I want him added at that entire thing. Bud Light, drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. The official beer of AFR, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Hey, one of the things you're seeing right now around the NFL, of course, is their Great Folds of Honor campaign. Love telling you about that. That's been going on for more than a decade now with tens of millions of dollars raised for families of fallen veterans and first responders. One of the great things the Folds of Honor is that you all know very well about. And, of course, Bud Light's been a proud sponsor of that for well over a decade now, and we're proud to tell you about it as well. So drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, and the official beer of the Saints and the LSU Tigers. Okay, quick break. We're a little late. Shea Dixon talking some recruiting next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Every home, listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. Hey, if you're thinking about selling your home, call Darren James. Why would you call anyone other than the realtor that literally sells more homes than anyone? That's Darren James. I told you about it yesterday, but if you go to Darren's Facebook page, and I shared it as well on my Facebook, there's a raving fan shout out from a couple that was moving out of state. Darren sold their home for them, and they absolutely raved about every part of the process they went through with Darren, from that initial phone call to Darren always answering the phone whenever they call, to the responsiveness to getting the home sold faster and for more money. It's pretty incredible. The family's name was Kevin and Jenna Simmons. You can go check it out. If you're looking to sell your home, you need to sell it fast for the most amount of money. You need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I'm glad you're rolling along with us here this Tuesday edition of AFR. Former Saints offensive lineman John Stinchcomb is here at the top of hour number 2. The last time the Saints lost 6 in a row was 2005. He was on that team. We'll talk about it with Stinch coming up in a little less than an hour from right now. Every Tuesday, we visit with Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger Talk, a little recruiting. Shea, how are you, man?
I'm well. When you were doing that, you got me?
Yeah. Hello?
No, I said I'm well. When you were doing that intro, I thought I was on, you were about to have John Stinch come on. I was like, this is going to be bad. This is not him.
No, Shea, that's called a tease. It's just setting up what's coming later. You try to create appointments with your audience to say, hey, look, right now it's 3:19 in the afternoon. Maybe, you're running to the grocery store or whatever it may be. Make sure you come back at 4 so you hear John. Or if you miss it, catch it on demand. Same thing I say with Shea every day. We're here Tuesdays.
Well, yeah. Okay, so like when Shea's done talking, don't just turn it. Stick around. There's more. I mean,
yeah, stick around. Or if you have to leave, come back. I understand people are busy. That's what it is. And by the way, because people are busy, they don't keep up with recruiting 24/7, 365. That's why we have you. Let me get my my weekly Jakeem Stewart update. We know he's kind of touring the country and going to a lot of big games. What can you tell us is the latest there with the big 5-star defensive tackle?
Yeah, so he up next is the Bama visit, which is obviously Bama and LSU are on bye. So he will be in town November 9th for that game, spend the whole weekend in town with family and everyone like that. And again, Stewart is a New Orleans native, a 5-star D lineman who reclassified from next year's class into this one, meaning that he's going to decide on a college and sign December 4th, which also meant that his process was expedited to the point where he had to go ahead and knock out official visits in pretty short order, and he's used some big games to do it. Again, top 4 was LSU, and then the out-of-state teams were Southern Cal, Ohio State, Oregon. He was at Oregon already, I guess, maybe when they beat Ohio State. I guess it was that game.
Yeah, it was.
And then he just took in his Ohio State visit, which was a narrower win over Nebraska than I guess a lot of people expected. And now he's on a little bit of a break. He'll see LSU. And then the week after that, he will head to Southern Cal. So what does that give him? The 14th. So he's got a few weeks after his final visit, and those 4 visits are up, to get in-home visits, which LSU will do, and then make his decision. And I think everyone, Matt, has gone into this saying LSU's the team to beat going into these wave of visits, but all along the process, he's been interested in Ohio State and Southern Cal and Oregon, and what are they able to do on these official visit weekends when you really, for the first time, sit down with a prospect and his family and have very extended talks that now include NIL, let alone football, future, college, academics, everything that comes with, sending your kid off to college. That once the dust settles from those, we'd have a good feel for where things stand. So big visit coming up with him. I would say that, though, we're on these visit highs. Oregon and Ohio State camps both sort of, are kind of pushing out some confidence of, hey, we've got a real shot here. So I think everyone is going to have a real shot. Nobody ever doesn't have fun on an official visit when you're a 5-star. Let's see how things look, as I said, when the dust settles.
Shea, wasn't Stewart supposed to be going to Columbus for the Michigan game, for Ohio State, Michigan?
He has said that might be a return unofficial visit.
Okay.
So we'll see if he does that. If he does do that, that's like, 4 days before signing day. So that would be interesting, something to monitor. But yes, coming out of the Ohio State visit, he said he wanted to get back, and that would obviously be the game to get back to.
He will be in Baton Rouge a week from Saturday for the LSU-Alabama game, along with, as you mentioned, Bryce Underwood, the 5-star quarterback who's committed to LSU. Is it significant that they'll be in Baton Rouge at the same time?
It's pretty big for me. I mean, you look, Jakeem Stewart was the number 1 player in the 2026 class. He reclassifies into a group where Bryce is the number 1 player. So you've got 2 guys who certainly were not in the same age, but that were in, or not the same class. Actually, they probably are the same age. Bryce is a year young for his grade. But, are 2 different groups of guys getting recruited at different points. And still, you see out there who the number 1 player is for next year, the year prior. So they know each other. And certainly since Bryce has been committed to LSU, it's been very well known that, hey, look, Jakeem's a big target. Oh, he might reclassify, and now he did. So, yeah, I think having a guy like Underwood, he won't be the only one. They'll have a lot of commits there, not just for visits, but they'll put other guys on official visits to try to just lock it. Like I said, the only goal is when you have 27, 28 commits and your goal is signing 25 or 30, hold on to what you got. And if there's a piece out there like Jakeem Stewart, you roll out the red carpet. So I think that's what they're trying to do here with Underwood and Stewart in on the same weekend.
Shea, speaking of Underwood, is there anything more to the Michigan buzz that we kind of talked about a few weeks ago as we keep inching closer to signing day?
Well, I mean, look, it's being reported more right now out of the Michigan camp and nationally that Sherman Moore and company are making a push, a final push, but it's nothing to me that would be considered surprising, right? Like we have, and I'll put it into some perspective first and then why it's not surprising, that Bryce has not visited Michigan's campus in a recruiting capacity to sit down with Sharon Moore and the staff since he was the head coach. His last visit there was July in 2023 when Harbaugh was the head coach. And then he did take in the Ohio State game a year ago, went with some Belleville teammates, and they all had to leave at halftime, bus back over to Belleville, which is 30 minutes away. So in the span of a year and a half, he's not even sat down with the new staff that's 30 minutes away from him, let alone made visits and official visits and be there for every, anything like that. So there's been no real change in interest. And I think right now you're hearing the Michigan side say, hey, look, we're matching this NIL push. We're doing this and that. And for me, it's how I read it, Matt, is Sharon Moore, first-year head coach in a year where Michigan is struggling, and certainly at quarterback, and the best quarterback in the past few classes lives 30 minutes down the road. You have to at least at some point kind of say, hey, look, we tried, instead of, after he signs, it becomes the narrative of, well, you had the number one player in the country, and we never heard anything. He committed to LSU, and you never did anything. So we haven't seen anything from Bryce's side to indicate that he is leaning elsewhere, but certainly you would expect that Michigan, and they have been all along, trying to get in this, whether it's through NIL or just relationships. But so far, it's been no real change to me.
Yeah, Shea, I probably should have even led by saying this to your point. So Pete Nakos over at On3, who works with you guys, is reporting Michigan's offered a competitive NIL package on par, as he puts, with what LSU presented Bryce Underwood. Says Underwood's expected to land an NIL package valued above $5 million over 3 to 4 years. So would that be, from as best of you as you know, what LSU is in the ballpark of offering?
I trust Nakos' reporting, and I also, if you were to have me guess, I would have guessed something in that range. I mean, that's not Nico money when Tennessee went insane. It's not. We're also moving into revenue share, more than likely. So how is it all broken down? But it doesn't surprise me. No, not at all, and it's believable. And I think that, look, Michigan is trying to ramp up their NIL efforts, which they've been. I know people have said, hey, look how much progress LSU's made over the past 6 months to a year. Michigan was in a bad spot, and even they were reporting that. So I think only recently have they started to kind of get a little bit of backing as Sharon Moore and them go through a season. What are they, 500? Where it's kind of like, hey, guys, we need some more NIL backing here if we want to get guys. And they've landed a few. I just think that Underwood might be a far cry at this point.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Hey, last thing before you go, where did the things stand with the other out-of-state 5-star and DJ Pickett, the number one corner in the country from Florida?
Yeah, he's got a couple more LSU visits coming. I think it's Bama and Oklahoma. But anyhow, I don't think it's Vandy game. But he'll be in town for those. And he's been going to Miami, which is a school he picked over, LSU over, but to see his cousin play, who was a top 100 player. He's a true freshman. But I did find it interesting. His other cousin, the younger brother of the player that's on the team, is a top 100 recruit and has offers from Miami and LSU, and he's likely going to go to Miami with his brother. But he went on record with us this week and just talked about how much DJ tries to say, hey, look, come to LSU. If you end up not wanting to go down there to Miami, come to LSU, come to LSU. So he's kind of doing and saying all the right things, too. I know people don't love it when a Florida kid who's a 5-star number one corner is at a Miami game every, few weekends. But DJ's made it clear before the season that, hey, I'm going to all these games because I want to watch my cousin play.
It's funny, Shea, I'm looking at the RPM there, the recruiting prediction machine at On3, and still got Oregon with a 51% chance of landing Pickett, LSU at 37%, Miami at 4%. You want to explain just one more time for the listener who maybe sees that, isn't familiar, how those numbers come to pass?
Yeah, it's an algorithm that weighs in a number of things, but largely picks being made for the team and how many times that person visited that school. So, for instance, if there were picks made for Oregon, more picks for Oregon than LSU. Everyone was saying nationally, well, LSU can't compete with Miami and Oregon for this kid, right? And here locally, we kind of felt good about it, but that from a national perspective, that was a little egg on the face moment. It turns out that LSU is competitive in NIL, and often development still matters. Things like that. A track record of putting out players at positions matter to kids who are ranked number one like that, and say, hey, look, my goal is first-round pick, so who's developing those types of players?
Shea Dixon, on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Get all your recruiting news there. He's with us here every Tuesday. We appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Of course.
All right, be well. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You know, over at Lee Michaels, they never sell man-made or lab diamonds. They only sell mined diamonds. You know, man-made, it's a technology play. Was it a chemistry experiment? Who knows what the value will do over time? You never have to worry about that with a diamond from Lee Michaels, because Scott goes to India on these buying expeditions to the finest diamond mines in the world to bring them back to Baton Rouge and back to Louisiana for their 9 locations. And because they're buying for 9 locations, they give you the great selection, but also they can give you that great price at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Check them out online at lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Alexandria, Lafayette. I was going through all of our affiliates. Baton Rouge, they're about the same. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, 9 locations in all at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. LSU basketball, it's the floor tonight for a little exhibition. First of the Matt McMahon year 3 under Matt McMahon. We'll get a first look at this squad as LSU takes on Loyola. Quick thought there. Could a couple of LSU assistants be in the running for the Rice job? There's one report out there that says it could be the case. We'll talk about that. And John Stinchcomb, again, former Saints offensive lineman, in about 30 minutes. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hey, y'all, as we're moving toward the end of the year, this is a great time to call Duplessis Builders. Go to duplessisbuilders.net. You can start there, duplessisbuilders.net. With Duplessis, we're talking about building that gorgeous pool, outdoor kitchen, pergolas, whatever it is, to beautify your outdoor space, to make your backyard that true paradise. It's duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. Absolutely gorgeous work. And what I always stress is with Duplessis, they take the time to do it right. Derek's got an engineering background, and they will not cut corners to speed up the process. He's very upfront with you of what the timeline is going to be to build your pool start to finish. So there's that very real expectation, but it's worth the wait. It's the quote from Gucci that's on the homepage of the website, which is, price is forgotten, quality is remembered long after price is forgotten. It's Duplessis Builders. You can learn more online at duplessisbuilders.net or go see their showroom on Airline Highway in Gonzales. duplessisbuilders.net.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
These fields in the hot summer sun, over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet tea.
Is that Michael Thomas singing that song? Is that what he's doing with his time now?
No. That is not Michael Thomas singing this song.
I mean, he didn't play in the NFL now for a couple of years. I didn't know if he maybe didn't maybe took up music. No?
Yeah, no, this is not him.
Oh, my guy Rooney over at Sunshine sent me a note yesterday because we played all Taylor Swift yesterday. I don't think Rooney's a big Swiftie. That's okay.
Okay.
But Grace, the marketing director over at Sunshine, is. And so Rooney sent me this message. Apparently Taylor Swift and Keith Urban sang a song called John Cougar, John Deere, John 316. And he sent that to me and said you could use that as a bump music.
Taylor was in that song?
Well, it looks like this is a YouTube video, maybe a live performance.
Oh, okay, cool.
Is it really cool?
Yeah, sure, that's cool, man.
This says the 1989 World Tour. So this looks like this was Taylor Swift's 1989 tour, and not the year. Well, yes, the year 19, but she had it as an album.
Right. Yeah.
And apparently maybe she brought Keith Urban on stage to do a song. So is that his song?
That's his song.
Ah, there it is.
But that's cool. I mean, she
like
does
the girl
that.
who sang with Taylor on Saturday.
Sabrina Carpenter.
And they sang one of her songs about Mocha something or other.
I don't know that song, but sure, yeah. I mean, I know of Sabrina Carpenter.
Mocha Chocolate Yaya.
That's not her. That's Christina Aguilera, isn't it?
She's one of the people in that song.
Oh, wait, yeah, that's
That's Lady Marmalade.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
From the Moulin Rouge. Went and saw Moulin Rouge on Broadway when we were in New York. Eric and I were there. Great show. You know who's the lead? Was well, not the lead, but one of the lead characters was Boy George. Remember Boy George?
I've heard of Boy George. Can't say that I remember.
You really want to hurt me?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
80s pop. Anyway, Boy George, who's like 60 and really fat now, was like the head of the club, the Moulin Rouge. Like he played that role. I forgot the guy's name. Some French name. Gaston or something like that. I don't know. It was good, though.
Strong name.
Really good. I don't think it was really Gaston.
It should be.
But go buy a tractor from John Deere, Sunshine, or a zero-turn mower, gate, what?
No.
Oh, you gave me this look like these eyes down. Like, what?
Oh, no. I didn't mean to if I did.
Sunnyquip.com. Sunnyquip.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference.
Texas A&M!
Imagine this. Mike Elko, non-committal on a decision between Marcel Reed and Connor Wigman for the South Carolina game. Well, color me surprised. Huh, Muse? Surprised about that one, too?
Floored.
Quote, yeah, I think there's a possibility for a lot of things. By the way, Chase Basantis, the offensive lineman who didn't play against LSU, who asked for an update on, he's the starting left guard. He was out last week. Says he's probably going to be out for a couple of weeks till they get him back, so they're not expecting to have Basantis back this week for the trip to South Carolina.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
You know, I feel like we haven't heard that one much.
Oh, basketball season's about to start. We'll hear it more.
Yeah, no doubt. So after benching Brock Vandegrift in favor of Gavin Wimstadt for the second half Saturday in the loss to Auburn, Kentucky's coaching staff is non-committal about who's going to start under center when the Cats visit Tennessee this Saturday. Bush Hamden, he's the offensive coordinator.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, his name is Bush Hamden.
I bet he knows his way around a John Deere, too.
You know what I think we need to do? I want to have a poll of the best or worst, or get Marlo to make a graphic. Best or worst. Think about the SEC coordinators we got here. We got Bush Hamden.
Yeah.
We got Kane with a K. Womack. We got Joe John Finley.
Don't leave that one out.
Joe John Finley.
Mike Bobo.
Mike is a little.
But Bobo.
I get it,
it's a clown.
I get it, but it's his last name. When you go into this type of conversation, it's all about the first name. So, for example, like if you're going country like Bush Hamden, Joe John Finley.
That's it.
If his name was Bob Finley, we wouldn't be mentioning it, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the take here. Are there others? There's got to be others. I don't know. What was that story about? I forgot.
They don't want to name a starting quarterback against Tennessee.
Yeah, it's Kentucky. Nobody cares.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Jared Brown and DeAndre Jules, their status was updated by Shane Beamer. So Beamer said Brown, the receiver, will be back this week, but they will be without DeAndre Jules. Brown, lower body injury against LSU. He's been out since the LSU game. And then Jules, his injury is not specified, but hasn't played since the Ole Miss game.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And the Vols got a kicker commit out of South Carolina. His name is Grady Dangerfield.
Again, I don't know why.
Grady Dangerfield.
Okay.
He's out of Charleston, South Carolina, Muse.
Yeah?
He's committed to Tennessee to kick. Chose the Vols over Virginia Tech. He's a 5-star kicker from Chris Saylor Kicking, by the way. The number 19 kicker in the class. Also a 5-star specialist by Cole's Professional Camps, where he's the number 37 kicker in the country. Grady Dangerfield. There you have it. That is around the SEC. Brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com. I literally just had a text on the show text line. Guy's name is Marks. M-A-R-X. Marks G. I'm not going to tell you his last name. He said, Matt, my brother, I need your roofing company to come check out my roof. My wife said, get Matt on it. Well, Marks, guess what? Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. I read that somewhere. You want to guess where I read it, Muse?
What was the quote?
Ask and you shall receive. Knock. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you.
I mean, it sounds like something out of the Bible there, Matt.
Well, Muse, you should have paid more attention in school. Celeste sounds like something out of the Bible. Didn't you go to Catholic school, Muse?
I did for 13 years.
You're giving us all a bad name now. Anyway, sent Marks the link, parishbuilt.com. There's a form right on the homepage. Fill it out. As soon as you fill it out, boom, you're immediately populated into our system. Linda or someone in our office will give you a call. We'll set up an inspection. Free, no obligation roofing inspection. You don't even need to be home. We'll get there. We'll walk it, mark it, chalk it, do the full inspection, give you a full inspection report. Again, this is totally free. Costs you nothing to get a roof inspection at all. If someone tries to charge you for an inspection, by the way, run the other way. Report them. You should never pay for an inspection. And we're happy to help you out. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. That's Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. John Stinchcomb in 17 minutes. There was a report today that not one but two LSU assistants could be on the wish list for the Rice head coaching job after they fired their coach this week. We'll talk about it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries, actionindinc.com, Action Industries Incorporated. Y'all, Action Industries been servicing the petrochemical refinery markets in the greater Baton Rouge area for 42 years. I mean, it's literally my entire life. I was born in 1982. Action Industries opened their doors in 1982. And as I've gotten to know my friends over at Action, one of the things that's most impressive, I mean this sincerely, is they know who they are. If you're if you're looking for that mega contract from one of those massive, $100, $200 million jobs, that's not Action Industries. If you need that 100-person job, that's their sweet spot. And while if you hired one of the mega contractors, you feel like maybe you're not a priority, if you have that 100-person job, that's Action's sweet spot. You're getting their undivided attention. You're getting all of their best people. They know who they are. It's very important in business and in life. It's Action Industries. 2 locations, of course, right there, Highway 30 in Geismar. Check them out. Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Love that song, Muse, one of my faves. Glad you're rolling along with us here. We always appreciate our friend Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Big shout out to all the farmers right now. Spend the day in those combines out in the fields. I know, I've been in those things. I know they're covered, air conditioned. Got a nice little ice chest right there, maybe a cold pop or two as you're making your way throughout the fields. Probably AC as well. Let's be honest, you're not exactly roughing it out there. But you do have speakers, a lot of you have Bluetooth, and a lot of you listen. I know, I appreciate it. So thanks for being out there. Hey, earlier this week, the coaching carousel started spinning. Rice fired Mike Bloomgren on Sunday. The Owls did appear in 2 bowl games under Bloomgren, but this year they're just 2-6 to start the season, so they canned him. It was interesting because CBS put out a sort of like a wish list, prospective candidates for that job. And among the 2 that they mentioned, among the names they mentioned, 2 are LSU assistants and not the ones you'd expect. Because I think most people, when we're talking about LSU assistants, maybe in line for a head coaching job, a lot of people are thinking Joe Sloan, Blake Baker. They list Cortez Hankton and Slade Nagel. And I think for either of those guys, this would be a really good opportunity if they were to get it. And look, let's be clear. I mean, when we talk about Cortez having the OC role or title, Joe Sloan is the one calling the plays. And I think there is a collaborative effort among all the coaches offensively. But so often, whenever you want to keep good coaches, and Cortez Hankton is a really good coach. Look at how seamless LSU has transitioned from great wide receivers to the next. I mean, from when Kayshon Boutte was here, when Cortez Hankton came in, the emergence of Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, and now Kyron Lacey, the development of Aaron Anderson year to year. Like, it's undeniable what he's been able to do. And he's also a great recruiter. Played in the NFL. There's a lot to like about Cortez Hankton. But so often when you're talking about titles, like, you have to, if you are an upwardly mobile coach, you have to have the title. Whether you're calling the plays or not, the title has to be there in many ways to sell, to justify it, to get the name recognition. So Hankton's got that, and he's worthy. Look, he's been everywhere as well. He played in the NFL. He coached at Dartmouth in the Ivy League. He coached at Vanderbilt, so he's been in the SEC before he went to Georgia, and now he's at LSU. So he's been in small schools, big schools, tough places to coach and win, places that have unlimited resources, and, of course, played in the NFL. He went to St. Aug in New Orleans, so rooted in New Orleans, played collegiately at Texas Southern. So in the Houston area, so there's a tie there to the Houston area if ultimately the Rice job is one that fits him. So that makes a lot of sense. And then Slade Nagel is interesting as well because Slade Nagel is obviously LSU's tight ends coach and also working with special teams as well. But he's a guy that is certainly also known as a phenomenal recruiter. And remember, Nagel became the interim head coach at Tulane when Willie Fritz left for the Houston job. So when you look at Slade Nagel, when LSU hired him, I loved it because this is a guy with a ton of experience in Louisiana, is a great recruiter, had history as a tight ends coach and a special teams coach. Remember, you lose Mike Denbrock, you needed a tight ends coach, you hadn't hired a special teams coordinator. There's a lot of reasons this made sense. So again, Slade Nagel was a GA at Northwestern State. He coached in the JUCO ranks in Texas. Back to Northwestern State, coached at LSU in 2009, then went to Texas State, Central Arkansas, McNeese, then Tulane from 16 to 23, finishing there as the interim head coach. So he's got a long resume, man, over 20 years as an assistant, waiting and building for that opportunity to be a head coach. And this might be that opportunity for a guy like Slade Nagel. I think Rice would be good for either Hankton or Slade Nagel because it is really difficult to get a Power 5 head coaching job if you don't have head coaching experience or if you're a coordinator. Like, we commonly see Dave Aranda go LSU DC to Baylor. Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma offensive coordinator to Oklahoma head coach, right? You can be Kirby Smart, Bama DC, Bama head coach. Jeremy Pruitt, Bama DC, Tennessee head coach. Now, I know a lot of that was the Saban tree, but still, it's more common that if you're a high-level Power 5 coordinator, then you can get a Power 5 head coaching job. Or you'd have to be a really successful G5 coach like Billy Napier at ULL getting the Florida job. You don't often see a position coach make the leap to Power 5 head coach. So you got to go G5 job, crush it, and then get the better job. So for Hankton or Nagel, the Rice job would be a great opportunity for that. You go from position coach to head coach at a G5, crush it, then maybe get that better opportunity. We'll see. Hankton's got the championship pedigree at Georgia. Remember, Nagel coached at Tulane, which is in the American Athletic Conference, which is the conference Rice is in now as well. So familiarity with the AAC. There's a lot that makes sense for these guys. And if you're Brian Kelly, like, it always sucks to lose assistants, but there's two sides to that coin. Yeah, you never want to have turnover on your staff, but whenever your assistants are advancing and getting better jobs, your position coaches become coordinators, or coordinators becoming head coaches, then you can sell that to other assistants, and so you can keep replacing them. And that's something Brian Kelly's done very well. Like, you start to look at the quote-unquote Brian Kelly tree. I mean, Clark Lee, I guess Marcus Freeman counts to a degree, Bob Diaco, but then you can even look at guys like Butch Jones, I know it didn't work out at Tennessee, but Butch Jones was really good at Cincinnati following Brian Kelly. Robert Saleh was a Brian Kelly assistant. You remember Robert Saleh with the Jets? He was a Brian Kelly assistant at Central Michigan back in the day. Matt LaFleur was an assistant at Notre Dame under Brian Kelly. Otter Denson, who played running back at Notre Dame, coached under Brian Kelly for 4 years. He's now a head coach as well, I think at Charleston Southern, or was there. Anyway, the point is, Kelly's got a pretty good history there of schools plucking away assistants and getting guys to become head coaches. Maybe this could be a good opportunity at Rice for either Cortez Hankton or Slade Nagel. We'll keep you posted if it does transpire that way, but just something to keep on your radar. All right, it's After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll knock out a quick break. Come back after Sports End. We'll talk to John Stinchcomb. He was on that 05 Saints team, the last one to lose 6 straight. He knows what it's like. That's next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by OptimizeGeneratorPeople.com. Y'all, honest to goodness, true story. We talk about having a Generac automatic home standby generator and how you never know when the power is going to go out. Honest to goodness, true story. On a beautiful morning today at my house, woke up, was going through my morning routine, was getting Drew up, started getting ready for school. Boom, our power went out. Have no idea why. The power in our neighborhood went out. I don't know if someone hit a line, whatever the case may be. But power goes out, trying to get Drew ready for school. And then after about 15 seconds, boom, power came back on. Why? Because our Generac automatic home standby generator powered on. Let us go about the morning, finish getting ready, we're out the house. I'm driving through the neighborhood. Sure enough, street lights, everything was at power's out in the neighborhood. The red lights out. Our house, as if nothing happened, because we had a Generac automatic home standby generator. If you want the same, you need Optimize. They service all of South Louisiana, from Slidell to Lake Charles. GeneratorPeople.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A quarterback change in Indianapolis. ESPN's Adam Schefter and Jeremy Fowler report the Colts benching former first-round pick Anthony Richardson and turning to veteran Joe Flacco. 2 days ago, Richardson briefly took himself out of a game because he was tired. That's likely only one reason for the move, believes former Colts safety Darius Butler.
It's definitely not ideal, for the organization, for the team. You want ideally for the young quarterback you drafted high to develop, become the face of the franchise, become an all-time great, 10, 15 years, win a couple Super Bowl championships. But how it ends isn't necessarily always connected to how it starts.
Darius Butler on the Pat McAfee Show. Texans receiver Stephon Diggs out the rest of this season with a torn ACL. The team is also dealing with the injury absence of receiver Nico Collins. Also from Schefter, the Ravens acquired receiver Deontay Johnson from the Panthers. Despite Aaron Judge's struggles at the plate and the Yankees down 3-0, manager Aaron Boone has no plans to move his slugger up or down in the lineup for a must-win Game 4 of the World Series tonight versus the Dodgers, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio.
Why pay more for a great shave? Choose Barbasol, America's #1 brand of shaving cream. Barbasol's thick and rich lather gives you a close, comfortable shave for just half the price of gels. Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Used to. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sean Salsbury, 1 hour from right now. Ton to get to and glad you're here. We know the Saints this past weekend with their loss to the Chargers suffered their 6th consecutive loss. That hadn't happened since 2005, the Katrina season. Our buddy John Stinchcomb was on that team, and he's always good enough to lend us some insights, good enough to join us here. John, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
I mean, we always appreciate you. Let me ask that sort of obvious question. From a player's perspective, what's it like in the locker room, man, whenever you're going through something like this and you just can't seem to get a win?
Yeah, I think you really lean on your leadership, and you want some of those senior voices to be the loudest. Obviously, there's going to be grumbling. There's going to be some undercurrent of displeasure, and rightfully so in some space. I mean, 6 losses in a row, you get to the point where you just have to stop the bleeding. And, there's plenty of reasons and a checklist of excuses, if you will, as to what points to how you get yourself in that kind of situation. But when you find yourself there, I think what's most important is the ability to kind of circle the wagons and know that there were opportunities and there will be more. And it's a matter of, fixing the things that you can, because there's still a heck of a lot of football left to be played.
There's it's interesting whenever I get to talk to guys like you, John, because obviously you have the player's perspective, but now you also are an analyst, so you can wear that cap as well. So when I talk to John Stinchcomb, the player, I know you're going to look and say, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of games left. You just take them one at a time. You go win. when you take a step back and you look at it as an analyst and you look at the Saints team, like what realistically is there for them this year?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in the locker room, the word is, hey, we're all professionals here, and you're getting compensated well for what you do. So there isn't really an option to just pack up your bags early and fold the tents and just be like, all right, well, better luck next year. From the outside looking in, you're talking about what direction do you want this organization to go? And specifically, your name is attached to it. So for every player in there, there is going to be a review at the end of the year as to how you deal with adversity, and whether they like it or not, you are where you are. And a 6-loss run is never fun to be a part of, but what are you going to do about it? And so I think the bigger question is don't look up, don't look at what are our chances and what about the playoffs. You're not there, and what you need to be worried about is how do we win one game? How do we win this next game?
You all broke that streak back in 2005 with a win over the Jets. Your bye week was actually in between, so it was 6 games, but it was 7 weeks because of the bye week in between. You remember anything about that Jets game when you all broke free and got the win?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the year I spent most of it. I spent the entirety of it on IR. I ruptured my patella tendon, and the whole team is bouncing across the country from San Antonio. Post Katrina, I was doing rehab both in San Antonio and Atlanta, splitting the difference, and it was. As football goes, you try to forget as much as possible about that season as you can.
Sure.
And just recognize that there's brighter days ahead. But I know this, the atmosphere each week gets worse and worse. And, you're just trying to focus on what you can control in the short term. And I don't remember the specifics of that Jets game, but I do remember as that season went on, you start to feel more and more of the weight of the losses as they pile up, and you're just trying to do whatever you can to break free from it.
John Stinchcomb is our guest. So with that in mind, when you look at this Saints team right now, and obviously injuries have been a big part of what's happened here, but do you see positives that you can move forward with?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still a culture of good quality leadership. I think signing back Alvin Kamara is a good sign of it. When you saw that primetime game and it was being called into question whether or not you're just rolling over and taking it, that's a challenge for any locker room. And immediately folks are calling for Coach Allen's job, and you can't motivate the guys anymore. And whether you read every line of what's written about you or not, you hear the grumbling. And I think that the positive signs are you still have Demario Davis in that locker room. You still have Cam in that locker room. You still have Derek Carr, even though he's not suited up, in that locker room. And they came back and at least were swinging against the Chargers. I think we've seen other teams that have kind of packed up their bags and go through the motions. I didn't see that from the Saints. I think they're still fighting as they should be. So I think that is a positive sign.
John, a week from today is the trade deadline. Dennis Allen was asked on his coach's show Monday about that, and he said flatly the Saints are not sellers. When you look at the team, and I'm outside of this season, now I'm asking you like a much bigger picture question. How do you think they should approach the trade deadline, taking a look at at the organization, the roster in total right now?
Yeah, it's tough because for years the Saints have kind of robbed Peter to pay Paul, and you look at the January and February rolls around, and you look at the cap and what the maneuvering that needs to take place, and you're going, golly, it's a hard place to be. But if you're in that window where you feel like you could win, it's justifiable. And now where you're not in that window, where, you're not playing for titles and championships at the end of the season, it's a little bit harder to rectify some of those bills that are going to come due. And I'm not saying this is a full rebuild mode and let's hit the eject button, but I think it's in the conversation. And I think you look at this next month and a half of football, and that will strongly determine what you need to do. And, I wouldn't expect Coach Allen to say they are sellers. As a matter of fact, I would be pretty upset if he did. That's not him. I wouldn't want a head coach that's saying, golly, that things haven't played out well. We're just going to look to rebuild for next year and try to get our books in a better position. That's not the leadership that I would want in this setting, at least not from the head coach spot. Now, for other seats on the bus, you're going, well, you look at the roster cap, you look at the age of some of the players, you look at the opportunities that the Saints have in the division long term, and I think that's a different conversation. It's just a really hard one to have at this point in the season.
Hey, John, what do you think look, they're obviously better. Shocking here, but every team's going to be better with your starting quarterback. They're going to be better with Derek Carr. What do you think is a ceiling with Derek Carr in this team?
Well, I tell you what, you watch those first 2 weeks, and I realized one of those was against the woeful Carolina Panthers. But you go, man, they played some really, really good football. And I think one of the concerns is we're talking about roster situations and the cap influence on it. One of the biggest concerns coming into this season is a lack of depth, because you're so strapped that you can invest in ones, but really you just don't have space to get the high level performing two, that if something, God forbid, happens to your first string, that you don't have that big of a drop off. What we've seen is, unfortunately, the Saints have had to rely on some of those second and third string guys, and there is a considerable drop-off. So it's a real challenge. And I think you look across the league, and there are some other rosters that are outperforming what their roster should say that they can win, at least on paper. And I think that's where the Saints are going to need to live. They're going to need to outperform what the expectations are from here on out.
Like Cam Jordan said on Twitter the other day, just a very different, unfamiliar situation for a lot of guys in that organization right now who haven't tasted this amount of losing. Hopefully they can turn it around. John Stinchcomb, former Saints offensive lineman, does a great job. John, we appreciate a couple minutes as always, man. Thank you.
Hey, I enjoy it. I'll be a Houdat for life, even through the struggles.
Let's go.
I'm still hopeful that they can turn things around and play some good football.
I guess if there's one good sign, John, what you all went through in 2005 and that bottoming out at 3 wins, a year later, you're in the NFC Championship game. It can happen that quickly with the right ingredients in the NFL. Hopefully this team can find it. Thanks, John.
Yes, sir.
All right, be well. You do the same. John Stinchcomb, always insightful. We appreciate his time. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, with locations all over South Louisiana. Go find our friends over at Shawbills. Find the location nearest you. Maybe you're hitting the road. I know a lot of kiddos got fall break coming up now. T-Bob and the family, I think, are taking off for Disney. If you're going to be hitting the road, make sure you bring your vehicle to Shawbills if you need those tires. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. That's at Shawbills. Go to ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Name brand tires, wholesale prices. They treat you like family, which keeps you coming back year after year after year. You never have to worry about going to Shawbills and wondering if they're going to try to upsell you something because you don't know anything about it, but they swear it's great. They're always going to treat you fairly. It's why they've been around since 1968, more than 50 years. Why Miss Beth Barron, just earlier this month, was named the Modern Tire Dealer of the Year, a national award among all the tire dealers in the country. Why? Because they're awesome. It's Shawbills. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, we keep you rolling. Okay, I do want to circle back to something we talked about there with John. Dennis Allen on his coach's show did say point blank, the Saints are not sellers. I want to address that. We're going to come back to that in about 15 minutes. When we come back, though, Heather Dinich, our good friend, CFP Denny?
It was one of the options, yeah.
What did she say?
Oh, she just said she'd been using HD on the CFP.
That's just a mouthful.
It is. Word salad.
Oh, man. Alphabet soup.
Huh?
All right, Heather Dinich's bubble watch is out. What are the odds that LSU, after their loss to A&M, can make the college football playoff? We'll have the latest. It's next. It's AFR.
After further review.
Have you done it yet? Clock's ticking, y'all. Temperature's dropping. Actually, it's not. It's 84 degrees today. When did last week we had temps in the 40s a couple mornings? But you know the cold weather's coming. If you haven't done it yet, call River City's 1 Hour Air. You got to get your heater safety check. You got to do this every year. I'm not preaching something that I don't practice. Every single year, Erica and I have River City's 1 Hour Air come out for the heater safety check. We're parts of their membership club that I tell you all about, the maintenance program. So as part of that, you get maintenance member club pricing on all service that you need, and you get front of the line service in case of emergencies, and this seasonal maintenance that I tell you all about is complimentary. So I'd always recommend you join their maintenance club. But even if you're not a member of the maintenance club, make sure you have this heater safety check. Make sure your heater is safe and efficient for the coming cold weather.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Take it to the barn, put it up for the night. Climb up in the loft, sit and talk with the radio.
All right, Sean Salsbury will be with us next hour, as he is every Tuesday. I got to talk to Sean about what he saw from Garrett Nussmeier, maybe more importantly, what Garrett Nussmeier was seeing from Texas A&M. That's coming up next hour. Brian Kelly, every Monday, visits on the Paul Feinbaum Show on the SEC Network. And this was obviously a week where there was one sort of singular topic, which was what in the world happened with Marcel Reed. Like, how were you all not able to figure that out at any point? Brian Kelly was asked, though, how do you prevent that from happening again? Because the next time out, you're facing the best running quarterback, a guy who went off against Georgia in Jalen Milroe, a guy who last year toasted you for 4 rushing touchdowns. It's been pretty clear what teams have done since that Georgia game. They've said, hey, Jalen, we're not letting you beat us running the football. You are going to have to throw the football to beat us. And so far, Jalen Milroe has largely been unable to do that. So how do you make sure you force him to do that? Here was Brian Kelly.
Well, again, I think you have to be prepared for a guy that could be in the game. I mean, like you said, Paul, he wasn't, way down on the roster. I mean, he had played a lot of football. So, we can't be surprised if, a quarterback that is a running quarterback comes into the game. You have to be prepared in those situations. And we just didn't execute our assignments. Look, I'll tell you what it comes down to really is when you get into these moments of adversity, you become distracted and you start to do somebody else's job. Instead of what we have been doing is our own job. And those things happen. And I think it's a learning moment for everybody that you have to stay focused on doing your job. And, the moment that those things happen, bad things occur. And that's what happened defensively.
I'll push back a little bit on Brian Kelly saying it's execution. Because, and I could have bought that until I heard Greg Penn postgame say, we didn't prepare for it. And if you didn't prepare for it, then the coaching is culpable there. You didn't have your guys ready with a plan. So they got caught off guard and they didn't adjust well. Now I can get on board with that. They didn't execute, they didn't adjust well, all that stuff. But you also didn't arm them with what was necessary to make sure they felt like they were able to go out and play really well. And so that's left you in this situation now where you got no margin for error. I mean, we could play the hindsight game, but you can even look back to the USC game and go, man, what if? What if you'd found a way to scratch that game out? Even with the A&M loss, you're still sitting there with 1 loss. You'd still have your mulligan. Now you'd be behind the 8 ball for the SEC championship, but we've also had this conversation a good bit as well. Like, do you want to be a 2-loss team in the SEC championship game? And there's 2 ways to look at that. One side is the positive, which is, let's say you're a 2-loss team, you go to the SEC championship game and you win. You pull the upset. Awesome. Now you're a top 4 seed with a bye. That's great. The flip side of it is, what if you're a 2-loss team, you go to the SEC championship game, you lose, now you're a 3-loss team. And I know there's some of y'all that are going to say, they'll never leave the loser of the SEC championship game out. And I'm going to continue to hammer this point into your brain. They did it a year ago. Georgia was undefeated. Georgia was the wire-to-wire number 1 team in the country. Georgia was the best team in college football last year. And what happened? They went to the SEC championship game, they lost to Bama, and they got left out of the playoff. There is no reality, none, where anybody who watched college football a year ago could make an argument against Georgia being one of the 4 best teams. But they played the SEC championship game, lost to Alabama, and, well, it got real messy. Because how do you leave out Alabama and put Georgia in when Bama won the SEC and beat Georgia, even though Georgia's resume was better? I know what we'll do. Leave Georgia out altogether. They'll do it. They'll find a way to make it work. It's a path of least resistance with that committee. And sometimes it's just as simple as say who has fewer losses. As far as this year now and how it all looks. Heather Dinich over at ESPN does her bubble watch every week, and this is sort of like akin to what Joe Lunardi does in basketball with his bracketology. This is bracketology. It's bubble watch just for the college football playoff. And this week, Heather Dinich puts hers out again. It's basically how the playoff would look now if you were seeding the playoff now, right? This isn't her projecting what she thinks is going to happen in the final month. This is, okay, based on all the evidence we have today, with still 4 games or 5 weeks of the regular season and the conference championship, so 6 more weeks of football to go, this is how it would look. So there's a ton of football still to play. Oregon is the 1 seed as the Big Ten champion. Georgia, the 2 seed as the SEC champion. Miami, the 3, and then BYU, the 4 as the Big 12 champion. That makes a lot of sense. That would be your top 4. After that, these are the first round on-campus matchups that she has. She's got Penn State as the 5 seed, hosting Tennessee. A&M as the 8 seed, hosting Indiana, which, by the way, Indiana is still woefully undervalued at this point. Ohio State as the 6 seed against number 11 Clemson. And Texas, the 7 seed, hosting Boise State, the 10. Interesting there that it's not the G5 as the number 12 seed. She got Boise State there as the 10. As far as the last 2 in, she got Clemson as the 11 and Tennessee as the 12. That would mean Miami and Clemson would be 2 representatives from the ACC. And Tennessee means that the SEC would get 4 in. Georgia, Texas, Texas A&M, Tennessee. Mind you there, that means both Alabama and LSU are out in her current bracketology. The other interesting one that's out is Notre Dame. So the first 4 out, she has Notre Dame, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Alabama. So Alabama, with 2 losses, actually not even close to being in. Among the first 4 out, but the last of the first 4 out. The next 4 out, Ole Miss, LSU, interesting that she got Ole Miss ahead of LSU. Pitt, who's 7-0, and then SMU at 7-1. Now, as for LSU, the resume that she writes there, if LSU and Ole Miss both finish as 2-loss teams, the Tigers head-to-head would against the Rebels could be the difference. Also noting losing in Vegas to USC could look better than losing at home to Kentucky, who continues to face plant. Of course, Ole Miss has a home loss to Kentucky. So if you're an LSU fan, you want to keep rooting for USC to win. Also interesting, and this is one I know we've talked about a good bit on the show here, is Notre Dame. She does note if the Irish run the table finish 11-1, it's highly likely they would earn a spot in the CFP, but they're here for now because their schedule is ranked 60th, while Texas A&M is number 24. So that's why A&M in, Notre Dame not in among the first 4 out. FPI, for what it's worth, and this is kind of the thing that's sort of interesting to me, is when you look at percentages and odds of running the table and what's likely to happen or unlikely to happen. The reality is, FPI has, with the odds to make the playoff among SEC teams, Georgia, 83%, Texas, 75%. Those 2 are almost a lock to get in. It would take a massive collapse from those 2 teams not to be in. Tennessee next at 68%, which is interesting because Tennessee does have a bunch of winnable games left. Bama at 52%, Texas A&M 46%, so the computer's not believers in Texas A&M. LSU all the way down at 21%, Ole Miss at 18%. So you have what seems like 2 locks with Georgia and Texas. Tennessee, which is right there as well. Then a little bit of a drop-off to Bama and LSU, or Bama, Texas A&M, the big drop-off to LSU, Ole Miss. All of that obviously changes if LSU is able to beat Alabama in Tiger Stadium. And, you know, I'll be interested to watch how these numbers continue to change and shift as we move throughout the next month. And we all know, because we all watch college football, man, you go watch 6 more weeks of football, you know, with the hundreds of games that are going to be played over the next 6 weeks, and a lot is going to change. So I don't want to put too much stock into this or the committee's first rankings, which will come out next week and all that stuff, because it just doesn't matter as of right now. But it is good just to see where you stand on on this sliding scale that continues to move and ebb and flow with every passing week. I know everyone wants to know, like, well, what do you have to cheer for if you're LSU for the sake of tiebreakers and things like that? And I don't know, man, because I think the tiebreakers can be so convoluted, and we don't have a sample size ever to know what a 16-team conference will look like, tiebreakers for this league, or what the committee is going to consider with a 12-team playoff. So I don't know what to cheer for yet. I think the most basic reality that we all understand is you need LSU to win. You win your next 4, you're 10-2. Barring something really unforeseen, that should be good enough to get you in. But if Georgia runs the table, if Texas runs the table, if A&M runs the table with the exception of a loss to Texas, if Tennessee runs the table, that Tennessee and Georgia still have to play, so Tennessee could get saddled with a second loss. Now you're looking at this group of like 3 or 4 2-loss teams that now the committee's got to have the beauty pageant among those. And what does that look like? So really what I tell you, cheer for South Carolina to beat Texas A&M this weekend. The teams that beat you, you need to lose. I need South Carolina and Texas to beat Texas A&M. It'd be great if Georgia beats Ole Miss and Tennessee. Like, you really want to see those teams ahead of you or teams that beat you lose. And, of course, you got to win. That's first and foremost. Tigers get an opportunity to do some of their own damage a week from Saturday in Tiger Stadium. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli. Michelli, they always say, we show the world what measurement can do. That's their slogan, and you can find out more about everything they do over at Michelli.com. Yes, most people know Michelli as our nation's largest distributor of scales, but they do so much more. Go to the website, hit the services tab, and you can see everything they do. All the different types of calibration that they offer at Michelli. And hit the services tab, and you'll see all the different types of calibration. ISO 17025 accredited laboratory. If you need it, they got it. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Michelli.com. All right, quick break. Come back. Dennis Allen on his coaching show Monday said the Saints are not sellers at the trade deadline, which is 1 week from today. I'll let you hear what DA said. I have some thoughts on it and what the Saints might actually be able to do. I'll put pen to paper. I'll tell you kind of what I came up with. That's coming up next. We'll have Tigers and the Pros. Sean Salisbury set to be with us here in about 30 minutes from right now. Stick around. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Glow Resources. They are complete employer solutions. If you're a business owner, having trouble hiring, having trouble finding the right people, maybe you hire people that just aren't reliable. They don't show up on time. Maybe they don't have the this necessary skill set, the qualifications, or the physical qualifications to do the job you need. You need Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com. Skilled blue-collar labor, yes, but they also have a professional placement division. So any type of office job, even C-level management, if you need to find the right people to make your business more efficient and more productive, Glow Resources can help. They have their network. They'll cast their net nationally and internationally in some cases to find the right people for your job, whether it's in Louisiana, in the United States, or international. Start by going to the website at glowresources.com. GLO, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. Glow Resources and glowresources.com.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
The best.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
And one more teeny weeny ride before I take her home. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
All right, thanks for being here with us on this Tuesday edition of AFR. Always appreciate our friends over at Sunshine. By the way, the Vanderbilt game, we're just a few weeks away, y'all, from the Vanderbilt game. It's about a month away. But buy your tickets. Remember, go to sunequip.com, sunequip.com. They're raffling off that John Deere Gator. It's the LSU-themed John Deere Gator. All the ticket sales proceeds go to 4-H and FFA. So please go to sunequip.com to buy your tickets, and they'll raffle off and then pick the winner for the Saturday of the Vanderbilt game. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, official partner of LSU Athletics. Today, Tuesday, is 1 week from the NFL's trade deadline, and Dennis Allen on his coach's show was pretty adamant when he was asked if the Saints might be sellers at the deadline.
I certainly don't think we're in the sell mode. You know, we're not looking to get rid of players. We're looking to improve as a football team, and if there's ways that we can do that, then we'll do that, you know, and so we have not been actively going out and shopping any of our guys. That's not our intention.
So I have a couple of things. On one hand, that's disappointing because I feel the same way I think a lot of you do, which is that this organization is going nowhere as it's currently structured. They've got to acknowledge it internally and then start to map their behavior toward an organization that understands what they are so they can start to fix it. And you're not going to fix it by continuing to give out bad contracts and continuing to invest into aging players with more money. That's just not a winning recipe. We continue to see this organization, this roster, regress. There is no denying that at this point. You are what you are. We all acknowledge it. They just haven't gotten there yet organizationally. The sooner they do, the better. You would hope that the first six-game losing streak in 20 years might be the wake-up call, but it doesn't seem to be. They're blaming the injuries. And yes, the injuries are part of it, but it also illustrates that you're basically just a house of cards when you lose your starting center and a gadget player and your offense goes to hell. You're old defensively. You're the worst defense in the NFL right now. Like, that's not because Pete Werner was out. It's because you're old and you're not very good. Anyway, don't get me started again. But usually if you're going to be a seller at the trade deadline, you either need a veteran with a tradable contract or a talented young player that someone would want to acquire. Well, Dennis Allen doesn't seem to think they got any of those.
Yeah, look, I think we have some good young players. I don't know that we have any great young players, or at least we're not in that position yet. I think we've still got some young guys that, are developing that we hope can continue to get better and improve. But, yeah, I think that's a valid question and a fair question.
When the head coach says point blank, we don't have any great young players, why don't you have any great young players? This isn't a trick question, by the way. Where do you get great young players? Muse, Paulie, it's not a trick question. Where do you get great young players?
Draft.
You get them at the draft. Thank you. You know what the Saints have not done well? They've not drafted well. When you use a first-round pick on Peyton Turner and he is not even playing, you're not better. When you use a second-round pick on Isaiah Foskey and he's not part of your rotation, and that wasn't just a 2. That was a high 2. When you trade up to the first pick of day 3 to take Nick Saldiveri, and even amid all of the injuries on your offensive line, you can't even, he was so bad in that game on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs. They benched him, moved Lucas Patrick back to guard, and put Connor McGovern in at center. Connor McGovern had been with the team for 48 hours. That's how bad Nick Saldiveri is. You don't have good young players. You've one in Chris Olave, who's a good receiver, but I don't know that we can definitively say Chris Olave is a legitimate one. That he's when you think of number 1 receivers in the NFL, I think of Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and what Brian Thomas is becoming in Jacksonville and what Malik Neighbor is showing he could be in New York. You don't have that guy. I think Olave's really good player. But if you flipped him, what would you get? And so then you look at your veterans and say, okay, well, who could you move? See, here's the thing. Yahoo earlier today did a feature where they listed 10 trades they'd like to see before the deadline. And one of them is one we mentioned last week on the show. We talked about this last week. When Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions got hurt, we talked about it on the show, so the Saints should trade Chase Young. The 49ers did this a year ago. They were a Super Bowl contender. Chase Young was with Washington. Washington traded Chase Young to the Niners. He was there for half a season, but made a run to the Super Bowl with him, and they came up just short. There's been all this talk about Max Crosby and Myles Garrett getting moved. That's not going to happen. So Yahoo mentioned the Lions trading for Chase Young. And it makes sense. He's not perfect, but he's motivated. He's in a 1-year prove-it deal, and maybe motivated by going to a winning team with an opportunity to contribute on a team that could go to the Super Bowl. That's not the only thing they mentioned. I like that idea. I mentioned it here last week. The other thing, right after that, among the 10 trades they'd like to see, was the Saints trade just about everyone. Literally the words they used. The Saints trade just about everyone. The first line, no team needs a total reset more than the Saints. They've been stuck in mediocrity for a while, and in the past 6 games, they've collapsed. It's time to tear it down. They have plenty of aging veterans who could help a team win, like defensive end Chase Young, running back Alvin Kamara, linebacker DeMario Davis, maybe even defensive end Cam Jordan. But the Saints' 2-year extension to Kamara recently is a sign the most short-sighted team in the NFL is going to hold on to its veterans, which would be really dumb and totally on brand for the Saints. At the very least, Young and his 1-year deal should be dealt. We'll see. How about that punch right between the eyes? From an impartial third party looking at your organization. Everybody sees it except the Saints. Now, let me look at who you could trade, though. So there were 4 players they just mentioned. We just talked about Chase Young, which I'm on board with. The other 3 are Kamara, DeMario Davis, Cam Jordan. When we talk about trading players, the consideration is you're not just trading a player. Someone has to be willing to give you an asset in exchange for the player that provides them value and the player's contract. This is the problem with the Saints. Are there teams that would say, I think Demario Davis still has some gas in the tank? Yeah, he could help us. Short term. Alvin Kamara is still running hard. He could help us. Yes, short term. Cam Jordan, maybe not so much. Here's the problem. You just extended Alvin Kamara 2 years, $24 million. He's still among the top 5 paid running backs in the NFL with that deal. Is there a team in the league that would say, yep, we'll give you an asset to take on that contract with 30-year-old running back? Maybe, if they were desperate. Before the contract, I told you they should have traded Alvin Kamara to the Chiefs. They just did a deal to bring in what they hope is a receiver with some gas, some fuel left in the tank, and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, the Chiefs are trying to get Patrick Mahomes weapons. Kamara would make so much sense. I don't know if they do the deal now with Alvin's contract that you just signed. So that probably eliminates any team from trading for Alvin Kamara. Demario Davis, look at his contract. In 2025, Demario Davis has a $12.4 million cap hit. But the Saints carry a $15.4 million dead number in 2025. So essentially, if Demario Davis is on your team in 2025, he counts $12.4 million against the cap. If he's not on your team, he counts $15.4 million. That's the problem with doing bad contracts and continuing to restructure. You screw yourself because now you've got within cap compliance, but you have untradeable contracts. And then there's Cam Jordan. Cam's number next year is $20 million. His dead number is 23.9. So if Cam Jordan is playing for the Saints next year, his cap hit is $20 million. If he's not playing for you, his number is $23.9 million. Let me ask you a question. Is there a team in the NFL that would take on Cam Jordan at $20 million next year for a guy that through 8 games has 9 tackles? You know the answer. Flip it. Would you trade for Cam Jordan right now? Not Cam Jordan 3 years ago, Cam Jordan right now. You know the answer. That's the problem the Saints have. You have an old roster filled with bad contracts, and so you don't even have assets to trade if you wanted to be a seller at the deadline. That's why you're stuck. The only way out of this is to stop the egregious spending, draft well, get younger and less expensive. That's it. That's your only path out. There is no other way out. They just don't seem to realize it. All right, it's AFR. I'm usually do Tigers and the Pros next.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown, 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge. Love telling you about the Watermark Downtown Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. We're moving toward the holidays. Maybe if you have family coming in for Thanksgiving or for Christmas, set them up at the Watermark Downtown. It's gorgeous. Baton Rouge's original high-rise building. It's the old Louisiana National Bank building that they've converted into this sprawling, gorgeous hotel, where they've maintained so much of the historical structure and integrity of the building, a lot of the historical architecture. I mean, they even have like this marble staircase in the lobby that goes down into where the bank vaults were underground. And the bank vaults now are these beautiful, gorgeous conference rooms. So if you want to have a board meeting for your business, you could have it there at the Watermark Hotel. The Gregory, the restaurant right there in the lobby, that gorgeous lobby bar as well. Great place to people watch. One of a kind, y'all. It's downtown. It's the Watermark Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Bertman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Sean Salisbury set to join us right after the top of the hour in about 10 minutes from right now. But right now, Musso as Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Pretty good night for 3 former Tigers on Monday Night Football. Of course, Giants and Steelers. Malik Neighbors received 13 more targets. He caught 7 of them for 71 yards. Cool 10 yards per reception. Long of 18 in the game. He was held out of the end zone, as were the Giants for the most part of the game. That was pretty solid field goal fest last night. On the other side, Patrick Queen, leading tackler for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 8 total stops in the ballgame. Good to see PQ, after not being retained by the Ravens, kind of go and find success elsewhere there in the division, too. How about that?
Division leader.
Yeah. And then Dante Jackson in the secondary for the Steelers came up with 4 stops in that ballgame. The New York Jets, you might have heard, they stink at kicking footballs. So they worked out 6 kickers today. One of them was former Tiger Cade York.
Okay.
The workout took place at MetLife Stadium. That's per Mike Garafolo from NFL Media. York has only played in 1 game this season in the NFL, and it was with the Washington Commanders. He missed his only 2 attempts in the game, but is 24 of 34 in his career. We'll see if he gets signed. Tari Eason on the floor last night for the Houston Rockets. Yeah, I got to mix the NBA in there, man. It's here. It's here. Tari fully...
start with Jingle Bells again.
Yeah. Jingle Bells, Sleigh Ride, all those good things.
All of it.
Yep. Tari Eason fully healthy, though, this season for the Rockets. 22 minutes off the bench, 6 and 5. Solid effort turned in there. Really good on the defensive end, as always, as well. 2 steals. And I'll keep an eye out tonight. NBA action. You have the Nets, so a trio of LSU Tigers in action, and the Timberwolves on the floor. So heads up for Nas Reed.
Hey, should have stayed.
That's Tigers in the pros.
LSU basketball plays tonight. By the way, I brought you by Evermore. Drink Evermore. EVAMOR. Always got my Evermore with me. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. You can order online, so you can get your Evermore shipped to you or you can go to the website at evamore.com, EVAMOR, evamore.com, and you can find a store locator. So when you hit the little, they call it a hamburger right there, the little hamburger menu, the little 3 lines, it looks like a hamburger. There's a find a store link. So you click find a store, and then you put in where you're located, and you'll find locations near you where you can go buy Evermore. So I always encourage you. This is what I really encourage you to do. We'll drink Evermore, but get a bottle of whatever bottled water you usually get, and then get Evermore, drink them side by side. Drink them side by side, and you'll go, oh, God. Like, you won't realize how wretched the water is that you were drinking before until I'm a water snob now, until you drink Evermore. Better form of hydration, healthier option for your family, for your kiddos. Check it out, evamore.com. Yeah, I didn't watch Monday Night Football. Did you watch Monday Night Football last night?
I watched half. I was flipping between that and the World Series.
Yeah. We've not mentioned a word of baseball here yet. You and Terrio talk about it on Friday?
We did. We both.
Who did he pick?
He picked the Yankees in 7. I picked the Dodgers in 7.
Yeah, you're both wrong.
Yes.
Because that ish is ending tonight, dog.
Yes.
Shut up, you freaking loser. Bandwagon Johnny come lately dork.
Oh, get out of here.
Red Sox hat. Just because
get out of here. A White Sox hat. Excuse me.
Your Red Sox
hat.
Oh,
I thought you said a White Sox hat.
Good.
Pardon me on that one, sir.
Stop talking. We're at the end of the hour. We got to go to Sports Center and talk to Sean Salisbury.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. I always tell you about Parish Construction and Roofing. Remember, there's a restoration arm as well. This is that patented, non-toxic dry fog treatment. Go to parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab to learn more. If you have mold, think you might. Odor. We're talking about all different types of odor. This could be odor from sweat, odor from smoke, cigarette smoke, a fire in the home, pet odor. If you're one man, like you bought a home, or maybe you have an apartment complex where pets are allowed, and you need to get that thing smelling good for the next tenant, call Parish. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab. Learn more. This is a more cost-effective and more efficient process than traditional remediation methods. Again, it's dry fog. So you're not cutting sheetrock. You're not pulling out carpet. It's exactly what it sounds like. You can learn more about the process and get info at parishbuilt.com. That's parishbuilt.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler and Adam Schefter reporting the Colts benching quarterback Anthony Richardson and turning to veteran Joe Flacco. Richardson took himself out of Sunday's game briefly because he was tired. Source said the benching's a growth opportunity. The team is not quitting on the 22-year-old. Texans receiver Stephon Diggs out the rest of the season with a torn ACL. It's a huge loss, notes coach DeMeco Ryans.
Hurts our team to hear that news, and he's been such an important part to our team, and just everything that he brought, not only on the field but off the field, the energy, the leader, like the way he worked every single day. He brought a lot to our team, and we have to pick up the slack. A lot of guys have to step up, pick up the slack.
Texans also currently without injured receiver Nico Collins. Ravens agreed in principle to trade for Panthers receiver Deontay Johnson. The Yankees down 3-0, changing their lineup for Game 4 of the World Series tonight against the Dodgers. Moved Giancarlo Stanton from cleanup to 5, switching with Jazz Chisholm Jr. And after not starting last night, Austin Wells in at catcher. Coverage 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance. And cover your furry friends with pet health insurance.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Brian Kelly meeting with reporters literally as we speak, so if there's updates, we'll pass them along. Tigers drop a tough one in College Station, one where they felt like they were in complete control, only to let it get away when Mike Elko changed quarterbacks, and the Tigers didn't have an answer. Let's ask Sean Salsbury his thoughts about what transpired there in College Station on Saturday. Sean, it's always our pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing great, Matty. How are you, buddy?
Man, honestly, I'd be doing a whole lot better if the Saints and the Tigers didn't throw up on themselves this weekend, but let's get into it. Hey, let me start with Garrett because, we talked here with you a couple weeks ago and raved about the performance he had against Ole Miss and how good he was. Boy, he was pretty good for 2.5 quarters on Saturday, and then, man, it just unraveled. I guess every quarterback has those days. What did you see?
There was a combination of things. I think that with the lead, the poor decisions led to some interceptions, adjustments by Mike Elko's defense. We knew going in how good they were. And then when you get to a point where you feel it, man, I can't speak for Nuss, but I can tell you this, and being in situations when you're going good you can close your eyes and it feels like you're throwing at the right guy and you're making good decisions with accuracy. When it starts to go the other way, it doesn't make, they could be sitting in front of you and you can't reach out and hand it to them like you want to. And I don't think you'll see 3 interceptions by him and a half again. And the second half, it was just, the adjustments they made, they were flying to the football, and it almost felt like the defense of A&M fed off what they were doing in the run game. And when you turn it over 3 times in the second half, give them, fields where they can go score, and they throw for less than 100 yards in the second half, and you completely shut down their starting quarterback. And Wigman is a mere shell. We talked last week, Matty, and I told you, I said, the guy's better than this, but for some reason, his confidence has gone into this is not the same guy that I've seen in the past, and they needed to make a change, and it obviously worked for them. A lot of times those don't work, but they made it. And I think for what happens is once you start to see it like that, then you start to, I call it, my mom used to call it, don't borrow trouble. You start to see things that you're not used to, that really aren't there. They don't exist, because Nussmeier, 90%, he's not going to make decisions like that and throws. And they were flying around defensively. And I don't believe in game-to-game momentum, never have. I believe in in-game momentum. And I do believe that their defense fed off the way that I was shocked at how one-dimensional A&M's offense was in the second half, and that LSU couldn't defend the one dimension. And then you couple that with, the botched special teams, and then you start to press as a quarterback. Now, like I said, he's shown so much the guts of a great, great player has Nussmeier, but you are going to have him. But unfortunately, 108,000 on the road in a huge game against a rival, it's going to be more hyper-focused because it happened against a team like that instead of, a game that you can overcome those and still win. You can't overcome 3 quarterback throws and a defense that literally looked like it was the first time they've ever seen RPO action off the quarterback run. I was actually shocked by the tale of the 2 games, and shocked just by how I literally, Matt, there was a point in time at halftime that I thought, I'm going to tape the rest, but I'm going to, look at some other game. I had a lot going on, other games that I said I'm going to focus in on, even though, that was the biggest game. I said, well, I'm going to keep it there, but my eyes going to some other games. And I'll tell you, I couldn't do that because it changed on a dime, and the adjustments at halftime and the guts it takes for a head coach to make a move on a veteran and bring in a guy who really was one-dimensional and dominated LSU was shocking to me.
LSU had defended that so well a week prior with
no doubt
with Taylor Green in Arkansas. What did you see? And Sean, how hard is that? I mean, doesn't it stand to reason, like you did this a week ago? Why was it so hard to defend that Saturday?
It almost, and Matt watching it, and I usually go back, like with I'll watch the teams that because I go on with you. And in Minnesota, I'll watch that game twice. I have not watched the LSU game a second time, but just from watching the naked eye and observing it, and I'm sure you watch differently too. I don't just watch it as a fan. I watch it like knowing we're going to talk about the nuances of the game. I don't know, and I may have an answer for you as far as when I say I don't know. I understand how the RPO works and defending it, but it felt like that they were so intent on tackling the back that you give this guy space, and he made all the right decisions. And it is weird. Now, some team will formation it different, and some people will, there's different ways to get to it. But really, with 22 guys on the field and only 11, there's not a whole lot you can do out of it, right? Yeah. That you haven't seen. And a lot of it has to do the kid's a playmate. He's got a skill set. And when Connor Wigman was hurt, he came in and did a nice job too. So the guy's got skills, but and it's not even just this year. And I know things change, coaches change and the rest of it, but the truth of the matter is that you've seen that this is a staple play across college sports in the NFL now on certain teams, depending on who the quarterback is. And Brian Kelly's right. When I saw the quote of, I would do that against us as well. And that's, and not tackling the quarterback. The way you defend it, Matt, and I know it's similar to the way you defend the triple I, or when you're playing Army, not the formation or the play. They're completely different. But the one thing I know, going back to when I was growing up and when you were growing up, and then when you played junior high and high school and all those things, and when teams ran the option, the one goal too is hit the quarterback every time he comes down the line, right?
Yeah.
You hit him. He gives it. He's still open game because you say, well, you hit him. And I almost feel like whether it's rules or people, that quarterback, whether he has the ball in his hand or not, and comes out of that RPO, you got to body him up. You just do. It's like it was as if you gave a Dennis Rodman, who was great on the offensive glass, or a body like Shaq. These guys, it was almost as if you said, you know what? I'm going to give him free reign to the offensive glass. I'm not going to put a body on him. And when you don't do that and you get a talented guy coupled with not assignment sound, I don't know how you dial it up defensively to stop it other than put a body on the guy who's damaging you the most. Now, you still got to tackle him and wrap up, but it was really odd to me. I was flabbergasted thinking, okay, this is going to be a hell of a game. But the way it changed, and it all came at once in that second half. Quarterback was on fire. They couldn't tackle him. And then they offensively cannot move the ball, and they're turning it over. And even if they started to get back into a roll, another interception from a guy who's been as reliable and as tough as there's been in college football this year, and Nussmeier in clutch situations. He won't forget this one, and I wouldn't expect him to have it happen again. But unfortunately, it happened, and Mike Elko's defense won that second half battle, and they didn't do enough in the first half to create enough space that even if the guy did play great in the second half, you still had space to win, and it didn't happen. And I was shocked on both ends, the Nussmeier decisions and turnovers, and I was shocked by the way that and even worse, Matty, the one dimension you knew they weren't going to throw.
Yeah.
But once in a while, you hit a couple of them, but I think he only threw completed 2 or 3 balls in the second half.
Also
I think that was it.
Threw 2 passes.
Yeah, 2 passes, I think. And so, and even then they couldn't stop him. So there's assignment sound, and whether it's overzealous, but you've got to you've got to almost treat it like the old school triple option or the veer or the speed option. That quarterback has to be hit regularly when you're playing defending RPO or option or anything else.
I'm glad you did talk about Nuss and the adjustments, because we'll wrap this segment with this thought. How much of Nussmeier's struggles were his decisions? How much was it whatever adjustment A&M made defensively?
I think it was both. I don't think it's in situations like that. Even when you're watching a quarterback, it doesn't matter what level, and you see a poor decision. Sometimes poor decisions are by the defense giving you, but once again, to either chasing a ghost or borrowing trouble. Like, well, that guy goes there and that guy's supposed to go here. And then what happens? And I'm just telling you, I know this. I can remember a game we were playing in the NFL against Seattle. Well prepared we were going, and we were on the road. And it didn't matter. It's the most interceptions I threw 4 picks, and any of us quarterbacks have been through it know what that's like. And one of them was a pick 6. It did not matter what I did. And I'm starting creating stuff. Well, in cover 3, that guy's supposed to be there, and he's not there. Well, Sean, you better adjust. You can't throw it there. And so your vision gets skewed. It was both. Trust me, he didn't just drop back and say, oh, I'm seeing the same things I always see. Elko knew he had to make some adjustments and give some different looks and speed up the process. It's not so much as even speeding up the decision. It's speeding up the quarterback's mind when it's not necessary. And then when you're pressing and realize it's a rivalry, all those things, I know people don't want to believe it, especially for a guy like that who has been nothing but poised under pressure since he's been an LSU Tiger and this year. Even when he hasn't played his best game, he's been able to come back from, a turnover or a mistake or laying the ball on the ground. But Mike is one of the best in the country, Mike Elko, at making adjustments. And then with that, on the decision split second late. And remember, man, as you know, SEC football is the closest step to playing Sundays that there is in college football. And if you're a step late, boom, guys drive on it. And they did a great job of knowing what LSU like to do and using tendencies or the analytics that we have in football, which are tendencies to make it. So decision, adjustment, and on the when you've made a poor decision and you're thrown to the wrong spot, what you do? Everything speeds up and you hit this. It's not a panic button, but it is you're almost operating under not even stress, under the duress that goes with. You start to make, teams that make or players that make hasty decisions based on, if they start to struggle, then everything, the built-in time clock speeds up. And then you start doing things that are out of character. And we've all been there. And it looked to me like that was happening to us. And then they didn't drop the ball when he threw it to them. That's another thing. The defense caught it. And a lot of times you'll get away with a couple or one where they don't catch it. But they caught it. And when you're under, when you're making those decisions and not, and the adjustments were better for them in the first half. And then Mike Elko's team did about as good a job as you'll see in a second half adjustment of dealing with a really good football player and a really good quarterback who I think's a first day pick on opening as this continues as we roll around in the NFL draft. But they got the best of them, and their second half was better than LSU's first half. And that's what that as a one-dimensional offense, they were still able to pull it off.
It was wild, man. It was wild to see.
Sure was.
Sean Salisbury is our guest.
And the word I was looking for, Matty, I didn't mean to,
no.
was desperate. Where you get desperate when you start to make mistakes, and so you start to see things that aren't there. And then when you're desperate, you get through reads a little too quickly, and the deep breath isn't quite as deep as you need it to be. And he'll rebound, but it's hard to salvage that after you lose a game against Texas A&M.
Yeah, man, it was tough to watch. Hard to find a game where there was such a dramatic about face, where one team felt like they were so firmly in control, and then it went so very badly.
No doubt, it was a crazy watch, no doubt.
All right, Sean's with us. We'll knock out a break. We'll come back and we'll continue. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Hey, I always love telling you about Gordon and the work he does with the G team. The newest video with a member of the G team that's up right now is with Squirrel Burrell, LSU track and field national champion. We'll sit down a little one-on-one with Squirrel. If you want to go check that out, you can on any of Gordon's socials. It's at Get Gordon. That's at Get Gordon, either on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. You'll see it all right there. Squirrel's awesome, man. World-class sprinter and awesome dude as well. World-class member of the G team. Hat tip to Gordon, all the work that he's done with his NIL deals with members of the G team. So you want to see more, you can. By the way, I love the track shoes with the Gordon G on them. See it right there. You can always go to GordonGives.com. GordonGives.com. Of course, Gordon Gives is the charitable arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You want to see about all the philanthropic work that Gordon and his team does, you can do it at GordonGives.com. And most importantly, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault, you need representation. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Well, she ain't in the cars or pickup trucks, but if it runs like a deer, man, her eyes light up. She thinks my
All right, y'all rolling along. Always appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Bunkie and below, you want a Deere, whether that's a tractor, a combine, of course, all your farm equipment, but also zero-turn mowers, the gators, they got you. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Always our pleasure to visit with Sean Salsbury. Good enough to be with us here every Tuesday for a couple segments, talk offensive football, talk quarterback play, and a lot to percolate. We talked some LSU A&M there in the last segment. It's an open date for the Tigers, so we'll get into some Bama talk next week with Sean. Sean, the Saints look like they might have Derek Carr back this week, but before I get into what Carr might be able to do coming off that abdominal injury, the Saints did mid-game make a change last week, went from Spencer Rattler to Jake Haener. I kind of want your thoughts first on some of Rattler's struggles, especially considering you had 10 days to get ready. It was his third outing. You were healthier. You had Olave back. You had two offensive linemen back. You had Taysom Hill back, but it was still clunky and nasty. I mean, should we have a higher expectation than what we saw from Spencer Rattler there in that third outing?
Matty, the truth is, well, I want to sit here and say absolutely. And you know why I'd say absolutely? Because we watched C.J. Stroud last year and watched Jaden Daniels and some of the way Caleb Williams and those guys handle, being rookies that still go through their struggles but make more plays. One is, let's start here. They need the big play ability. I mean, they gave up a bunch of big plays defensively, and they didn't make many offensively. It was just very – when you look at them, if you just look at and going 2 of 16 on third down, even though the Chargers weren't much better, 2 of 16 on third down, you're not going to beat many people. And you're in long yardage situations a lot of times. With Rattler, I get it. But remember, Matty, why he was, a fifth-round draft pick and wasn't drafted first a couple years ago. His inconsistency. I told you he's got some ability, and we know it may end up being a steal still. Here's the thing, though. That's how rookies play. That's usually how it looks. Complete some, be overwhelmed. And it's not the physical part that I'm worried. Now, he's going to miss them, but what leads to physical mistakes a lot of times is being overwhelmed mentally. And that's what Stroud or what Jaden Daniels are doing, or even Bo Nix at times, hell, even Drake May after he sat a few games, is that they're going to make them, but they get more opportunities because they're the guy, and they've been the guys for the most part, other than May, since the season started. They went through all the training camp, getting it all. So they're ahead, and they're also first-round picks, so we expect more from them. The truth is Spencer Rattler's playing like Bryce Young is playing at times. He's playing like rookies when they first started. And it's a mental overwhelming part of it, because physically they can still throw it and all that, but what happens is mentally – when you're still trying to catch up, and I can assure you, talk to any quarterback that's ever been through it, and Matty, you've talked to a million of them as I have and been through it. From the time you take that snap as a rookie and you come back in year 2, you realize I had no idea what I was doing. And I think I've told you this before. It's the truth. You're really react. Stroud even said, he goes, I spend time just reacting, being a football player. You really don't know what you don't know, and it's a lot. Because unlike college and high school base coverages, notice guys in college, they do a little more of it, but they get in their comfort zone. NFL, and you're running into guys, they're doing a little bit of everything, and they know. I mean, they're not stupid. That's why they're employed as defensive coordinators. But these are the reasons why he had to transfer, and these are some of the reasons why he wasn't a first-round pick. Is that he became inconsistent and exploded on the scene physically, but then went to another, and then had to get his confidence and all that stuff back. That's well documented, but. I'm not willing to quit on him or a Jake Haener. It's just this is how young guys play. Yeah. We keep thinking it's Jaden Daniels. That's not normal. It wasn't normal for Elway. Look at his rookie year. Now they do spectacular stuff. It's not normal it wasn't normal for Manning. Manning threw almost 28 picks or something his rookie year. That's the norm, where you're not playing. I mean, you'll make some great ones. Now you get a guy like Jaden Daniels who's just different, as you guys well know. And now, I mean, he's treating Sundays as if it's damn near looks easier to him than it did Saturdays at times. Hell, you need to throw him into the MVP talk if this continues, because his impact on what this team's doing now. So I wouldn't. I mean, it's frustrating, but in truth, there's a lot going on that team that needs help offensively, big playability, and the rest of it. He just happens to be a product of it, and he's a rookie. And anybody that expected miracles out of him, they're not good enough to overcome for him to be a star. Even then, rookie quarterbacks for the most part hold teams down because you got to expand their mental bandwidth, and you just do, and it's normal. So it's not he's not dumb. Not that he doesn't have good football IQ. Hell, I know the guy for a long time that spent all that time in Scottsdale training. The guy knows football, but it's going so fast. Well, Sean, he played in the SEC. I don't care. It still moves a step quicker. And it's grown-ass men that you're trying to take food off their table. You got 4 kids sitting at home. So it's a different level. And as a rookie, you're just trying to get out of the huddle, let alone trying to complete balls and then have to understand what 11 dudes on defense are doing. I'm not surprised at all that he's had good moments but struggle as well. They'll be grateful to get Carr back because even Carr as a rookie went through his as well.
Any differentiation with Rattler and Haener? I mean, we didn't see a large sample size from Haener. I'm just wondering if there's anything you saw at all.
I feel, to me, just from it, and you asked last week who I thought was going to start, and I said I believe it's going to be Rattler for at least another week. It feels to me like Jake Haener has it feels a little bit more in command. Does it make things happen a little sooner now? It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't a big body of work, but I almost felt a little more comfortable with his grasp of it, if that makes sense. And so that's probably the thing that stuck out. But the truth of the matter is you can't expand it with young players like that unless Jake was playing every down. If he was in Carr's situation where he's a young guy playing every down, or Spencer Rattler, it will get better for them. But watch the decisions. Even when Carr comes back, watch the decisions, how much quicker they're made and how much more command there is, and the little things like that. You have a hard time directing all the traffic because you can't even get out of your own way as a rookie quarterback, regardless of what people think. The way they're playing as a young quarterback and a rookie quarterback, that's usually the norm, especially when you're on a team that's still going through some offensive issues and making sure that everybody's healthy, but also and quite frankly a very new offensive coordinator who's still learning on the fly himself.
With Derek Carr coming back, they said, Sean, he's going to practice. The expectation is he'll practice on Wednesday, and then they'll see how he goes. But I think most people
if he practices all of it, he'll play. You and I both know that.
So, when you're coming off an abdominal injury like that, they're playing Carolina, Sean. So, they're a touchdown favorite. How bad is Carolina? I mean, the Saints, who've lost 6 straight, are a touchdown favorite on the road. So,
yeah, Carolina's awful. Yeah.
What do you expect seeing Derek Carr come back this week?
Well, I'm assuming, Matty, if he practices, that he's going to be, I would assume, close to full health, right? So if it's 90%, and the one thing about that area, the core part of the abdomen, sometimes when it's a hip flexor or rib cage, it's the torque with the lower half and the torquing and moving, and you're always worried about hits, but just the velocity on a football, because really, when you want to ramp up the arm strength and have to make tight window throws to a coffee can size window, it's the lower half explosion that creates the velocity. It's not a lot of guys, young quarterbacks, they try to overthrow with the upper body and their head flies out of the picture screen. They're not seeing where they throw it. That core and understand the rotation. That's the one thing that can get in the way. If he's healthy enough to practice and full torque, I wouldn't expect it to be a problem. I really wouldn't. I don't know how much more he could hurt it or if it's a hit that's going to bother it, but that's like interior, whether the soft tissue part of it or what have you. And I think he'll be fine. I don't think you'd run him out there, even though you're desperate for a win. I don't think you're going to run him out there if he's 75%. So I can't imagine if he's fully healthy, and then also whatever that pre-stuff routine, whether it's doctor meds or the treatment you're getting before the game, when he goes out there, I wouldn't expect it to be a problem physically for him getting back into his rhythm, but he's a pro, been in it long enough to understand that. So I don't think you're running him out there at 75% because that does him no good and does your team no good. So if it's close to 90% or 85 or 90%, I wouldn't expect the abdomen to prevent him from making good throws and accurate throws. If it does, you'll see the wincing. You will be able to tell immediately on certain throws if that part of his core is bothering him in the abdomen. But I wouldn't expect it to be a problem. If he practices, that tells me he's about as close as you can get to being 100%. And they're going to need him because, I'll be honest with you, even as good as the favorite, if Carr doesn't play, it's a great equalizer. It really is, because young quarterbacks, it's on the road, it's still tough, man. So, and you know how it is in the NFL, 2-3 turnovers, and we saw it in college football the past week, and the other team wins. So even as bad as Carolina is, but I would imagine that Carr is going to be about as close. And he's probably sitting back watching and saying, I don't want to leave this glove on the mound anymore. I got to be ready to go. I would expect him to be as close to health and dealing with it efficiently. I don't think it's going to be, if he plays, I would expect more than a touchdown win.
Hey, by the way, Jaden Daniels is up to the 5th best MVP odds. You mentioned he should be racing up the board. He's racing up the board right
and he should. Manny, I don't know how when I look at like the MVP in the NFL, it's not just numbers. Where, guys are going to play, and I know they vote on numbers. The 50 dudes who have the main MVP vote, numbers matter. But I also, it's like when Kirk Gibson won the, 1988 when he won the National League Most Valuable Player of the Year. They won a series. Is the last time they won, not named the 2020 COVID season, is that his numbers weren't gaudy, but the MVP in the league because of his impact and what he did for the team. While Daniels gaudy, he's rushed for over 400 plus yards already. He's second in the league in accuracy. Everything he does is spectacular. And you saw the way he handled brilliant. Real quick, man, I got to get this in for you, LSU guys.
You're good.
The brilliant way he handled the last play. I watched every snap of that game because I wanted to see Caleb and Jaden go at it. I did. The way he handled that, nobody even talked about it. You know, a lot of times guys will sidestep, move a little bit, and then throw it. Did you know he moved another way, came back, and then reset himself to make a good, high, accurate, perfect throw that didn't fly 8 yards deep, that if the guy catches it, he's out of the end zone, that wasn't too deep where he's short. It was almost like, oh, man, I've gone over this 4,000 times in my mind. This play's going to work. And I love that they're magnetized to the way he handles his business. And I am such a fan. And he should be in this talk. He should be in the MVP talk because the impact he's made on making the culture there, not just Dan Quinn. Your quarterback is that face and way you're doing it, and he's going about his business. This will end up being you're tied to quarterbacks and coaches as a front office. This is going to end up being as good a decision that front office has made. I know it's a change in front office, but this is one they'll say, look how we started this guy. Because now the next dozen years, I don't have to worry about anything. Just don't keep taking those hits, bud. Don't keep taking those hits.
Hey, man, we were telling him that here, too.
Bruce Matthews and I were talking about that today. We had lunch today. The all-time Hall of Fame great Bruce Matthews. And Bruce, we were saying, man, he goes, Sean, we were talking about him, and I said, he just got it. He got one weakness. And he's tough enough. He doesn't need to take those hits. I said, Bruce, they need a guy like you to go grab him in Washington, grab him by the back of the jersey and say, get your butt down. They'll have time and a place to take on a linebacker or a strong safety or somebody else. But I love him, and he definitely deserves to be mentioned in this because his impact. They're the best team in the East, and I firmly believe that. Maybe not the most talented roster like Philadelphia, but they are the best team right now. And his impact on them he deserves to be in the MVP talk. And there's about 4 or 5 guys, Goff and him and Jackson and Derrick Henry. Why not a rookie? And we've only had one, and that was Jim Brown, who was a rookie of the year and the most valuable player in the same year.
Yeah, man. Long way to go, but, man, pacing pretty good so far.
Hey, brother, I'm a USC Trojan. So while I want to feel sorry for you this week because of what happened this past weekend, I know we beat Rutgers, but if you start with an M, we don't beat teams that start with an M, and we've lost 3 of them. So I'm reeling with you, bro. I'm in your pain, the Trojans and LSU, and you just got a better college program than we do right now. Hopefully we'll turn it around, but it'll get better for you. I trust LSU, even though they get some time off and they'll be ready for that Alabama game. But the Saints got some building to do, brother, and I hope it happens quickly for you guys.
He's on Twitter, X at Sean Unfiltered. Y'all get him there. He's the best. Sean, we appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Be well. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. One more time, firstsouthland.com. Thinking of buying land, your first call needs to be to First South Farm Credit. They look out for you. It's not just lip service. I was talking to Ben last week, Ben Sanders over there. He told me in the last 2 months, they've done $168 million in loan modifications. Basically, as interest rates have come down, they've called their borrowers and said, hey, we can get you a lower interest rate. We could lower your payment rate with a lower interest rate. You didn't have to know that and call them to see if they do it. They just took it upon themselves to do that. That's how they built great relationships for more than a century. It's First South Farm Credit. Thinking of buying land for agriculture, that recreational property for hunting or whatever it may be, timberland as an investment property. Talk to your CPA about that. Or you want some acreage to build your family's dream home, your first call needs to be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthland.com, FirstSouthland.com. Otter locks are posted up at louisianasports.net. So if you want to get tonight's bets, they're already there. Jimmy's got, I think, three college football plays and a play on the World Series game tonight. So they're up at louisianasports.net. Jimmy will be here in 15 minutes from right now. Let me knock out a break. Brian Kelly just met with reporters, and we do have an injury update on LSU offensive lineman Garrett Dellinger. We'll get to that next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Tell you every day, Rouse's, this feels like home. Hey, listen, Thursday is Halloween. Maybe you got family coming over for Halloween. I don't know how y'all do it. That's how we do it. We, Erica's whole family, all extended family, everybody goes in one spot. We all trick-or-treat in the same neighborhood with all the kids and everything. Even though the kids are getting older, it's still fun to do trick-or-treat. So you want to go buy all the candy for trick-or-treat? They'll have it over at Rouse's. Maybe you have family coming over. You're throwing a little Halloween party. You need food, your party platters, trays, everything like that. Or maybe you're cooking a little gumbo jambalaya. You get all your supplies right there at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. And which Rouse's? Well, any of them. There's more than 70 from Lake Charles to Orange Beach and everywhere in between. Voted in basically every state, every market, the best grocery store in that market, that city, that state. It's Rouse's. They've been around for 100 years. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. It's Rouse's. This feels like home.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The best kept
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Thanks my tractor. She thinks my tractor sexy.
We opened the show earlier today. Michael Thomas, yes, that Michael Thomas, apparently big fan of the show. He was tweeting out YouTube links in the show earlier today. I'm dead serious, by the way. About the rant we had yesterday, and I guess he took issue with something that, you can go see it on Twitter. Anyway, Ryan, no, this was, forgive me, he said, oh, man, where was it? Shane said, watch it, Matt. Michael Thomas might throw a brick at you. In reference to Michael Thomas throwing a brick at somebody's car back whenever he was in his knucklehead Saints days. Now he's in his knucklehead unemployed days because nobody wants to pay Michael Thomas to be around their organization. Like, why would you pay cancer to enter your organization? You wouldn't. That's why Michael Thomas is tweeting at me. Anyway, Brian Kelly just met with reporters, and this is not great news. Garrett Dellinger apparently suffered a high ankle sprain against Texas A&M. So we know that in the second quarter, Dellinger left the game. The report's up at LouisianaSports.net, by the way, if you want to go read the full report. So Dellinger suffered the high ankle sprain in the second quarter. He was replaced by Paul Mabenga. We know that the sixth offensive lineman for LSU had been Tyree Adams. Tyree Adams had a really weird injury against Ole Miss, suffered a sports hernia in pregame warmups, and had surgery, so he's out indefinitely. So that means Paul Mabenga, if there were an interior offensive lineman injury, Paul Mabenga is the backup. And if there was a tackle injured, then Bo Bordelon would go in the game. And lo and behold, after staying relatively healthy on the offensive line for the bulk of this season, the first game out, you end up with that situation there where Garrett Dellinger goes out and all of a sudden Paul Mabenga has to go into the game and on the road in a hostile environment and all that sort of stuff. Dellinger is... look, it's disappointing because you're talking about a guy that came to LSU, started and is now a 4-year starter, and has played all over the offensive line. Remember, even started Brian Kelly's first game ever, that Florida State game in the Dome. He started at center, but he's really anchored down at left guard as they shuffled 2 years ago and got the freshman in there with Campbell and Jones. They've been set with that line now ever since. And the thing about Dellinger is his pass block grade at Pro Football Focus this season has been exceptional, 88.6, but he's actually also one of your higher graded run blocking offensive linemen at 72.3. So as much as you've struggled to get going in the running game, this hurts because you could ill afford to lose anybody on that offensive line as much as they've struggled. But one of the guys, it's your veteran guy, 6'5", 322, who's been pretty good against the run. I mean, there's 2 games where he scored above a 75 grade in his run blocking grade. Now you go to Paul Mabenga, who was your second lowest rated overall offensive player this past week against Texas A&M. Only Will Campbell graded out lower, incidentally. But Campbell had the false start penalty, and you do get dinged from that on Pro Football Focus. But Brian Kelly was non-committal about whether or not Dellinger would be ready to play against Alabama. He just sort of said that this will be a rest week for Garrett Dellinger, so don't anticipate him doing anything except trying to get rested and get healthy to see if he'd be able to go against Alabama. The one thing about an ankle sprain like that is it is better for a lineman than it is for the skill guys. Just think of it. It makes a lot of sense. The lineman, you play in a phone booth. You're not stopping and cutting and pivoting and accelerating. I mean, you're just moving bodies. And I don't mean to say just moving bodies, but it's far more difficult for a running back or for a receiver that's going to be stopping it. I mean, think about a receiver, running a crossing route where, if you run 10 yards full speed, you stop and you cut and break in. I mean, it just stands to reason you're asking your feet and your ankles to do a lot more by way of that dexterity than an offensive lineman. So I don't know what's going to happen with Garrett Dellinger. I'm not trying to guess. I don't know. I don't have any information other than what Brian Kelly provided. But Dellinger, high ankle sprain, going to rest this week. We'll see if they can get him back for Bama. If not, Paul Mabenga would be in line, it would appear, for his first start against Alabama. So that's a storyline we'll continue to follow this week and next. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows. Beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all over at Relief Windows. They do it better than anyone else. Again, windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters as well. Get on by Relief Windows. Go check out the showroom. I highly encourage you to do that. If you're thinking about windows, you're talking about a big purchase, man. A big purchase and a big investment into your home. You can go by the Relief Windows showroom. They put so much thought and care into that showroom. The contractor that designed LSU football ops is the same one that designed the Relief Windows showroom. So meet with one of their associates. They can go over all of your options. They can show you that 3D technology that I've told you about before, whereby you don't just have to look at like a panel or a sample of a color. They can build out what those windows, doors, siding, what it would look like on your home with a 3D model there at their headquarters on Airline Highway in Prairieville. So get by and see them at Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, oh yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, it's after further review. Appreciate everybody for being here. We'll get to Otter Locks in just a quick second. As always, you can email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Always feel free to jump aboard. And you can check out LouisianaSports.net for info all the time. There was one more quick note before we break and get to Otter. There was some roster movement today for the New Orleans Saints. Not that it's gigantic roster movement or matters tremendously, but the Saints did add Jacob Cabody, the running back, is a Baton Rouge native who played collegiately in Lafayette for the Cajuns. They did add him back to the practice squad. And then the other thing that was added today, or I guess the other roster news today, is there were 3 roster news announced. They terminated the contract of practice squad offensive lineman Sincere Haynesworth, and then the Saints have added running back Jordan Mims and cornerback Trey Herndon. So those were officially announced by the Saints. I believe it was John Hendricks who reported the Jacob Cabody news, but the Saints have not officially announced the Cabody move. What they have officially announced is they've terminated the contract of Sincere Haynesworth, and they've signed Jordan Mims and Trey Herndon. And that does make a lot of sense, right? With the injury to Marshawn Lattimore, perhaps that's why you're adding some depth there with Herndon for the week. And then there was a hamstring injury as well with Kendra Miller, so Jordan Mims coming back makes sense. So just some roster moves there, house cleaning for the Saints. Okay, after further review, we'll grab our final break of the show. We'll come back, and we'll do Otter Locks. Jimmy will be here. World Series and a 3-pack of college football games. Jimmy has it for you next. It's AFR.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. Thursday is Halloween. Not too late. If you want to go get your pumpkins for carving, for painting, just for decorating the front porch, back patio, office building, whatever it is, they've still got a good selection of pumpkins for that last-minute Halloween pumpkin carving, painting, and decorating. But also remember, y'all, it is fall planting season. They are fully stocked over at Clegg's with these cool season flowers to replant in your flower bed or your patio pots. You want to freshen up those flower beds, this is the time to do it. So you want those earth tones, right? The oranges and the greens and the browns, sort of for this time of year, they got you covered over at Clegg's. Also, they're stocked up on Mobucks deer feed, on deer corn, on rice bran. So if you're a hunter, they got everything you need over at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Luba Workers' Comp,
Our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Powered by Sunshine, sunequip.com, sunequip.com. All right, let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Good, Matthew. How about you?
Well, the Saints stink. LSU blew a giant lead to Texas A&M, and the Yankees are going to get swept tonight. I'm doing awesome. Thanks for asking.
Well, yeah, I had to break it to you. You know, just been trying to kiss up to you and pick the Yankees from time to time, but I think that's over. Man, hey, look, baseball's streaky. It's a long way. You got hot streaks and cold streaks, and it's safe to say Aaron Judge is on a cold streak right now. So, pretty impactful player. I think bottom line too is, you know, the game 1 changes everything. 2-1, man, we're rocking and rolling.
No doubt.
You know, we're gonna on our way to a deep series, but you got to close out those games. But the National League was stronger this year, and the fact that, I mean, you know, Cleveland was an overachiever. God bless you, Roscoe. I know he's going to call me a nega guardian, but I mean, you know,
a nega guardian.
but I mean, you know, Kansas City and Cleveland as compared to the Padres, you know, over there, I mean, which were really tough and playing really good. So, and they had to do that on the road too. You know, win that game 4. But anyway, we're gonna take the Dodgers tonight. They're gonna throw their bullpen at them. Heel has had a great year. I mean, a lot of should have a promising future, but he's been wild, and this is not the lineup to get wild, put extra bases on. So that lineup, they're getting production all the way through. So not just the top of the lineup, which is unbelievable, but we're just going to go with the Dodgers to finish it off tonight, plus $1.15.
Yeah. All right.
All right, college football tripleheader tonight. Here we go, baby. And next week, it is midweek action. So get ready for that. But we're still in the Fun Belt tonight. Go take ULL on the point going to Texas State. You know, I'm looking at the tail of the tape on these two teams, and you know, it looks pretty even. So you know, we'll take the Cajuns plus some points there. Sam Houston State, they won that wild game. Their only touchdown drive was 2 yards. We suffered in that one last week, and that doozy from South Florida. But we're going to go with Sam Houston State. They're still, Matt. They've lost a lot of games, so they don't take for granted any type of win. I look for them to come back home and get it going tonight. Minus a decent number now, 9.5 or 10.
Yeah,
we're going to lay it there.
At DraftKings up to 10.5. So, by the way, this is one reason why when Otter gives the plays and it's up at LouisianaSports.net early, you got to go check early because there has been line movement. ULL is down to 3.5. where when you gave it was 4.5, and Sam Houston is minus 10.5. When you gave it was 9.5. So it pays to play early. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, ULL public dog tonight in that one too. And we'll take the home team, Florida International. We'll go back to them minus the 7 against New Mexico State at home.
Oh wait, on the website it was New Mexico taking New Mexico State plus the 7.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. We're going to take the point.
Okay, all right. We're taking. Okay, we'll make sure. Okay.
Yeah, Florida International being offensively challenged down there. Good, take the point. So 2 dogs. That's right, 2 dogs, and then Sam Houston State.
Okay, so New Mexico State's and FIU's getting started here in about 10 minutes. We got New Mexico State plus the touchdown. We've got the Cajuns plus 3.5, and then Sam Houston State laying a big number, laying 10.5 at home against Louisiana Tech.
Please remember on these small conferences, enter at your own risk.
Yeah, tread lightly. It's Tuesday. It's Fun Belt action. We're just having some fun, all right? Tread lightly.
That's right. That's right.
Where are you tomorrow?
We are at Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Lee, right across from Mike Anderson.
Great spot.
Great little spot.
And live at lunch now on YouTube as well, so you can watch Charlie and Jimmy over at Los Reyes tomorrow if you can't join them for lunch. All right, Otter, good luck. Have a great night.
All right, good luck, guys.
All right, damn it. Thanks, man. We'll see you. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020. Jimmy's a Williamson Eye Center patient, as am I, of Dr. Blake Williamson. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Think about how different our realities were. I had LASIK. Jimmy had the custom lens replacement. So it doesn't matter your age or your refractive issue. You want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, the Williamson Eye Center can help. Go for that consultation. Don't wait. Let this be your push. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's Williamson, EYE.com. All right, we're getting on down the road. Sadly, I probably agree with Jimmy. I think the Dodgers do finish it off tonight. I think hard to get off the mat after that last night. At home, all jacked up, and it just went very badly, very early to see. All right, Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
Do you have your reservations yet for Supper Club? A couple things to remind you about, y'all. So this weekend, of course, the Tigers are off. You want a Saturday night out? Get your reservations at Supper Club. Now, they might be booked already for Saturday. I'm not sure. I haven't checked today. But it's worth calling over there to see. Remember, they got open seating at the bar, so you could always just walk on in, belly up to the bar, maybe get lucky, maybe a bar table's open. But you can never go wrong with anything on the menu at Supper Club, especially on Thursday. Thursday is the night, y'all. Thursday, that 21-day, dry-aged, bone-in tomahawk ribeye served up as prime rib, sliced and served tableside there by Chef Layton. Y'all, one day only for prime rib at Supper Club. It's Thursday. You got to make a point to get there. Of course, they have their wine feature on Thursday as well, where you get to try an exquisite wine by the ounce. Thursdays are the day to get by Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what